Okay, that's all I got. Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 95. We've got the fearsome foursome, and we don't have the interrupting cow on this one. Kevin is unable to make it because he's graduating from school in a couple weeks, and he has been incredibly busy. But guys, do us a huge favor. Please share this episode out there. Help us in any way, shape, or form. Break the algorithm. Give a big fat FU to Facebook because of them bogging us down. We are on day 134, I believe, of a 90-day shadow ban. So, guys, do us a huge favor. Hit the share button. Kate, who was not Mo? You weren't here last week. Mo, introduce yourself. Right. Say what you've been up to. How are things going?
Everything's going good. I wasn't here last week because I was in Vegas. So I was having fun. And, yeah, I was having fun. My name is Let's Talk Darling on YouTube if you want to follow me. So make sure you do. Although I haven't posted anything lately because of the shadow ban. I mean, you know. But I'm also Let's Talk Darling on Instagram as well.
Is it ironic that shadow ban rhymes with Taliban? No? Nobody?
Kind of.
Really? You're stretching CNN.
Is that a stretch? Is that
stretching CNN?
Is that a stretch? Ilhan
Omar would not appreciate what you just said. Just saying.
Right.
Truth. We need to be singing Ramadan Bible hymns.
On the plane.
Ramadan hymns on the plane. Yeah, let's do that. Sounds like a great idea. With that said, guys, since it's in the first minute or two of the show, by requirement, guess what? We get to talk about our only affiliate and sponsor. God bless them. Friends, we're facing more threats than ever before. When our leaders warn of global food shortages, including here in the United States, it's time to act. Prepare with BTC.com. Again, that's prepare with BTC.com and get your long-term emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply while you can. We don't know when more empty store shelves may hit. Now is the best time to act. My Patriot Supply is by far the #1 preparedness company to rely on, with millions of satisfied customers in last year. Act quickly and save $150 on a vital 3-month emergency food kit. This kit provides breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, snacks totaling over 2,000 calories per day, which if you are Lizzo, that's a snack. Every family in America should have at least one 3-month supply of food per person. Now you can go to preparewithbtc.com and save $150 on your 3-month food kits. Again, preparewithbtc.com. For your food kits. Cool. That's it.
All right. You're going to get it snatched down because you mentioned Lizzo. You know, you can't mention Lizzo on social media, right, Russo? You know that?
I didn't know that.
And she made a video where she was crying and she's like, oh, people are calling me fat. And Facebook and Instagram said, well, now you can't call her fat.
I didn't. Who called her fat? She's
you totally fat-shamed her just now.
No. Yeah, that's called a thinking. That's a thinking man's joke. I didn't directly say anything. I used a reference that would imply that's not the amount of typical feed somebody would have in a full meal.
Like you just said, feed.
Like in a trough.
A trough. That's what I was thinking.
It goes in a trough, not on a plate.
Oh, wow.
What did I say?
Nice.
I don't even know. Jelani, what's a Lizzo? That's a great question.
What's a Lizzo?
That's good.
Hey, make sure you take a picture. Hey, when you take a picture, okay, hashtag Suni and then hashtag being a woman is not a feeling. So we can get a hashtag on. Take a picture in it. And thank you for purchasing. I appreciate everyone who did.
Yeah, Suni's been killing it with that shirt.
Yes, the vagina is not a feeling or whatever it is. We got it.
It's not a vagina. It's a uterus. Come on.
I'm a
pretty good.
I know what an X spot is. I don't know what a uterus is.
Okay.
We're not even going to get into the G word.
I don't even
or
have
anything
a
like that.
What does that make me?
Mo, are you a Decepticon?
Are you
Where
non-binary?
do I identify? You know, one of these days I should show my uterus on this show. I have to make sure.
You should not.
What kind of world do we live in?
Chat. Hold up. Drop a 1 in the chat if you want to see my uterus.
Jesus.
Yo, all these people are gonna do it. I'm telling. Wait,
it's the internet. You don't do that.
People are asking to see the shirt. While you guys contemplate if you want Mo to show her uterus, here's the shirt. Go purchase it. Make sure you put MATA and use that promo code. You get 20% off. Thank you.
What kind of world do we live in that we can't use the word
let's go,
Lizzo, but we
Matthew.
can show a uterus? That's
Matthew wants to see my uterus. Put his comment. He put a 1 up. Matthew wants to see it.
Ooh, you got two ones. He said 1 for scientifical purposes.
So
what type of word is scientifical? Why do black folks got to be so extra and make a word?
No,
into something more.
That's like when the word conversate became a big deal. I'm like, really? It's just, you're having a girl.
She said, Nate said, no thanks. I'll just look in the mirror. Okay. Well, Nate,
well, you can't
yours
see
is
it
inside your body.
Yeah.
Mine is not. Mine is on a table. Okay. Surgical.
Gosh, some of my uterus is to be here on a table, but that's a whole different story.
All we know is Mo needs Jesus. That's all.
I do.
Oh man. All right, do us a favor. I don't know what's going on. What do we got right now? We've got 65 people watching, but I see that only 65. Somebody, please do us a favor. There's a lot of people that have not hit the like button and hit the share button. I know it's a lot for people because oh my god, we talk about things like eating out of a trough. But let's go ahead and do the thumbs up, the hearts, the laughy emojis. Please do that. Hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, all you got to do is swipe it off to the side, the comments on your phone, and you can hit the like button. I'm going to do another share, and then we'll go ahead and get the show started. But on the count of 3, we don't move forward until you do us that favor and at least hit the like button, like, hearts, whatever. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, corn pop, 3.
5.
Okay. 5. Hold on. We'll do the Joe Biden 5, which is him looking for somebody to shake. And I want to thank Tarleton State University for allowing me to bogart their room. They're probably going to find me and be like, even us, we're a little too woke for you. All right, let's go ahead and get the show started. Oh man, somebody's in for a good time. Romero, I don't know why YouTube recommended the show to you. We talk a little bit. We have a little bit of fun. We talk about politics. We're going to talk about anything from the Durham Report to Elon Musk to Biden. We're going to have some fun. So stick around. And if you disagree with this, I love it. Please interact with us. We enjoy that because we like to challenge thought. Anyways, let's go and get the show started. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for episode number 70. Okay, let's pretend like that didn't happen. 95 of Truth Tuesdays. Yeah, I had a get it. Ilhan Omar is going to be one of our topics because apparently she doesn't like Christians singing on a plane. Biden getting worse and worse by the day. The Durham Report. The latest findings and making a little bit of sense of it. Elon and the poison pill, and then BlackRock, Bill Gates, stuff like that. We're going to talk about the shootings in South Carolina, Grand Rapids, and New York. And if we get to it, we're going to talk about the decriminalization of the cannabis. And here's our guests, our guest hosts. They're not guests, whatever. We got Casey, we got Mo, and we've got Suni, the fearsome foursome, minus Kevin, the anarchist. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Well, that's they're not the best co-hosts in the business for nothing, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, stop it!
I'm waiting for some more V jokes. Is all I'm looking for. So
I bet you were, you dirty pervert. Again, do us a huge favor: hit the like button, hit the share button. Somebody asked where we're streaming. We are on YouTube as Truth Will Set You Free USA, as well as Be the Change USA. I believe we've got it on there, and we're on Facebook. Tomorrow is 420, and I'm going to see the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Rogan himself, right out here in Fort Worth. Boom goes the dynamite.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Mo, why aren't you?
You're going to go see Elon Musk?
Maybe. I mean, maybe he's there. Who knows? Mo, why aren't you going to Joe Rogan?
Because you didn't tell me about it, and I didn't get an invite.
So
That's simple.
It's his fault, not yours.
I mean, not every Joe Rogan is only like super duper famous to white people. You know, brown and black people don't know who Joe Rogan is. That's
sorry. Not true. So he had a black boxer say that he was the man. I don't know who that boxer was, but he said.
See, you didn't know who the boxer was.
I didn't know who the
That
boxer
makes-
was, but
To tell you how white Joe Rogan's audience is, that was a Valentine's Day present from Kelly. That's how white the audience is. But yes,
nice.
somebody wants an explanation, Mo. Do you want to give this? Do you want to explain why you carry your uterus as a necklace?
Okay, guys. So I had really bad fibroids, and I had to get my uterus removed because of it, and it's fascinating. Okay, you do want to see my uterus. Trust me. If you love chicken wings, my uterus legit looked like a chicken wing. I don't know why. Okay, but like it was on the table, and there was like I don't know if this was the fibroid or what was going on, but it was fascinating. I told the surgeon, I'm like, I have to see my uterus, and it was huge, huge.
Huge. It was huge.
Yeah.
Looks like you got tickets, Mo. Congratulations. So
Russo's out of the
yeah,
picture now.
Wait, who's
She
giving
heard-
me tickets?
Kelly is not taking me anymore. She's giving them to you. Apparently, she enjoyed the
thanks,
uterus
Kelly.
chit chat.
Thank you, Kelly. Do you have an extra ticket for my uterus though? Because I don't go anywhere.
Oh man. Anyways, guys, if you want to support us and you like the gear, I know Suni's wearing Make America Think Again. We got In America, We Can Agree to Disagree. I will be wearing a version of this shirt tomorrow at Joe Row, the Unveed Lives Matter shirt. We also have hats like the Awake, etc. So go to awakenotwokestore.com. Again, that's awakenotwokestore.com. Use Awake for 15% off. All of Suni's shirts are in there, our shirts, all the above. Check it out. We got about 20 different things. Last but not least, on the housekeeping, because we're already on minute 12, which means we're going to be here for a while. Let's see. We got hashtag BeTheChange.com/podcast. We've got this. By the way, my podcast that I've been talking about for a while will be starting hopefully in early June. And the name that we came upon was Blunt Force Discussion, also known as BFD with Anthony Russo. Who's going to be my first guest? I don't know yet. I think it's either going to be a woman by the name of Tony who works for Monet or Chad Prather. I want to start off with a bang, but I'm also talking to WeBeam TV about possibly putting it on their platform. They've got 3 million subscribers, so hopefully that'll get it jump started a little bit early. But that's just we're in early conversations with that. Ultimately, I need to find some sponsors before I get the show started because this one's not going to be cheap because it is all in person and it's in a badass studio. Real News PR.
I got
Jeff
another
Crilley.
guest for you.
Who do you got?
Good guess.
Will they fly to me?
Lizzo.
No, I don't know anybody in Lizzo's camp. Thank the Lord.
No. I bet they're really skinny. Go ahead.
Probably.
Who
No,
you got?
I think Bryson would be a dope conversation with you.
I'd have Bryson.
Especially, yeah.
Would he be
guys should
willing
do
to
it.
fly himself in? Or
I don't know. I'll
drive
talk
in?
to him, see what's up.
I'd see.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would.
now
I would.
he's flying again.
He seems to travel a lot, or at least did
Yeah,
before COVID.
I could set it up.
Well-
Yes, you do, Melissa. I see that. I could set up like I could maybe even at least do a hotel or something like that for him. But the travel is expensive because the room's already expensive. But I would love to have Bryson because I know that him and I have opposing viewpoints and agreements all at the same time. So that'd be great. Big fan. Yeah, that's all I got. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, yeah, and then also not Great American Summit, the Great American Syndicate. We're going to have this going across the bottom at all times. Where is it? So they are. We still do have Patreon, but we would love for you to support us here. So if you could do that, please do. I would love to know where that is, but I'll have that on the bottom. There it is. So if you want to find it, you just got to go ahead and copy down the bit.ly/GASBTC. Do us a favor, the whole episode is just keep leaving comments, keep leaving, do different things. Go ahead and do thumbs up, hearts. That's the only way we're going to keep breaking this. I don't know another way to do it. I'm watching that. You know what? Let's start with this conversation. Suni, did you see that Anomaly had on Mitch the Bitch earlier today?
I did. And I put out a PSA for Mitch. I hope he comes across it. And I said, someone let Mitch know that Africa is a continent, not a country.
I saw that part.
Yeah.
What?
Did
and
he
also,
really say that?
he really did. He said the COVID numbers are low in Africa because it's hot.
Is she cutting out to anybody else, or is it no? Apparently, just me.
I think it's just you.
See, I don't. Go ahead.
What's
I think
going
it's
on
this
with Lucha's
internet here too. This is like the world's fastest internet, and of course tonight it's not fast. You're at the Charleston
the
Library.
world's fastest internet.
No,
Whatever.
legit. I've tested it before, and usually it's like 700 download and like 300 upload. I'm like, oh, Wi-Fi, great. And then today I'm jerking off with sandpaper.
It's your Mac.
Awesome.
It's your Mac.
It's
No, but that's what Mitch said. And shout out to Anomaly. You know, he destroyed him, which we all do. I just don't understand Mitch. I really don't. I think he has got to be employed by the Democrat Party to be doing the stuff he does. He has to.
My thing is with him is I think it's attention. Honestly, he really. If you look at everything he does, everything around him, he always wants to be against the right, and so anybody that's a conservative or has a conservative view or right of him, he has to oppose you and be against you for everything that you are about. Everything. And that's the part that I'm like, dude, yeah, you can't agree with anything I say. Like, really, nothing. And when that picture came up in our chat, I was like, are you serious? Like, really, that individual out of anyone, that individual? It's crazy.
Okay.
Did you watch it,
Frozen? This sucks. Yeah, I watched like an hour.
You're in and out, dude.
Oh, it's just so frustrating. I might do a restart while we start on one of the topics.
Go ahead. We can cover it. Mo, do you want?
Yeah.
What are your 2 cents
I'm
on
gonna
that?
see what I can do to speed this bad boy up.
Oh, jeez.
Have fun, guys. I'll be listening. Maybe. All right. I'll be back.
You won't be. So, Mo, what is your 2 cents with it? Like, did you see what was going on? Where Mitch actually was on with Anomaly?
No, because I blocked Mitch many moons ago, and so I don't see anything that Mitch does. Thank God.
Many moons ago. Hey, look,
yes,
bro.
Many...
Look at this epic live.
Oh, I was like, no, Mitch is oh, jeez. Look at that hairline, first of all.
Well, hey, be nice. Be nice. I don't have much of a hairline either, but I wear a hat.
No, but still, at least you wear a hat. Mitch is all up in the camera with his hairline all the way back here.
Mitch, if you're watching, Africa is a continent, buddy. It's not a country. Okay?
I can't. So how did that come up? Like,
I have no clue. People were like, "Did you see Anomaly? He had Mitch on him." My inbox was full, and I'm like, I was sleeping. I'm kind of glad I missed it because I probably would have got triggered.
So did he literally say Africa is a country, not a continent? Yes. And he
just said Africa is a country.
And he tells me, because I don't have a college education, I'm a useless individual pretty much.
Yes.
But no, I recognize Africa is a continent. It is a continent.
Hey, shout out to Red Pill. This is Mitch's nickname. Can you guys make out what the acronym is?
MJBB.
Yes.
What is the acronym?
No, I don't get it.
No. Mitch, Joe Biden's bitch.
Oh.
But yeah. I don't remember. There was someone that was commenting. I think it was on a Chad Prather post that someone was commenting on, or another post on Facebook, that someone was actually going in and they were saying, why Elon Musk is not African American. Like, actually, he is. He's from the continent of Africa. Now, the difference is Africa, we refer to Africa, African Americans, because of some lineage there, right? That's what's the term. They're not actually from there, but some lineage comes from Africa. But in other countries, we refer to them as the country they come from. But Africa in general, we usually refer to it as the whole continent itself. And so there was this big debate back and forth. And I'm like, we have to understand Africa is made up, just like America, of a bunch of different places. But Africa has a whole bunch of countries inside it. If you were to say North America, that would include Mexico, America, and Canada. So we have to start looking at it in those different perspectives. But man, I don't understand the confusion on, maybe we need to go back to geography and teach people, but Africa is not a country. It is a continent.
Are you here now?
I don't know. I'm like downloading or
He
trying
said,
to
I don't
post
know.
8 million things.
You seem better now. Are you on your phone?
No,
'Cause
I'm just no.
You're zoomed in. Like I can't even see the top of your head.
I know. Well, I did the lower the whatever. So let me explain what Mitch was talking about with Africa. So he kept trying to hearken different arguments, and I'll be honest, the Africa as a country statement that he made was the least ignorant of the things he said. It was just a verbal gaffe. It was just like he just made a mistake. He just like simply was like, like people from the country of Africa, like it wasn't that big of a deal. Like it was just he slipped instead of saying continent. Like it's obviously big like mistake. But amidst all the other stuff, he still kept talking about the bleach thing with Donald Trump. He
Are you
will
serious?
not. He still thinks that thing. An Anomaly played the video for him. Legit played the video for him, and nothing. Like it was like he just isn't getting. Goes. He said disinfectant. It's like bleach, and he's like, no. He said disinfectant. And he's like Anomaly had the patience of a saint. The way this whole conversation started, though, is that Anomaly typically would have thousands of viewers. His viewers have just been shellacked for some odd reason, though. Anything that if anybody plays the Johnny Depp trial right now, it's got like 20,000 live viewers at a time. It's insane.
Oh, it had
Welcome
100
to our world.
when he testified today. It had 165,000 people watching.
Unreal.
And let me just tell you something, okay? I was captivated, even though the guy cannot tell a short story to save his life. Like I at the end of his testimony, I was like, I can kind of see why she hit him now. Like I can see like the guy just went on and on. I was like, dude, all they asked you about was how you text. Like, why did you have to go into like what books you read, what music you listen to?
What?
Oh yeah.
What?
No, like I was like legit, like I was texting with Corinne Tatum and I was like, oh my God, are you watching this? I was like, this is completely ridiculous. And she was like trying to put Bo down so she could watch it. It was like, I was like, girl, this thing, it went on from like, I think 1 o'clock to like 5 o'clock. It was the longest.
Jeez.
And he's not done. He's not done yet.
I watched for about 10 minutes just to kind of gauge it. And I mean, he's one of the best actors of our generation. So can you really trust the story of his childhood and upbringing? I'm sorry. No, you can't.
I do because his sister got up there and told it and it was like really emotional. And she's not an actress. So yeah, I do believe it, but
yeah.
My friend said, like, how do we know he's not acting? And I'm like, I think it's kind of a little bit of both. I think he's being sincere, but there's probably a little bit of drama inserted in there.
Well, and the thing is where's the evidence, right? Is that being proposed, or are we just going off of people's opinion?
Well, I think that's the best they can do is he said, she said. They talk about the theories from the lawyer or from the counselor that they had, and then you've got friends of the family, like a whole bunch of random things. I think I don't know. It's hard to judge.
But the thing is, it's not about whether he really abused her or not. He's suing her for defamation of his character because she published an article in the Washington Post alluding to the fact that it was him. She never really named him. But there was no proof, no evidence ever found that, there was any abuse, and the trial only solidifies that even more. In fact, like her makeup artist, her assistant got up there and said that, she had hit her at one point. Like there's nobody getting up on the stand speaking well of her character at all.
Yeah.
Do you think $50 million is the amount that should be listed, or do you think that is extreme?
I think she's a dumbass for even letting it get there. Like she knows she was a monster. She knows that she beat him and it wasn't the other way around. Like I told this to Sudi the other day, I would have been like, just let me know which news publications you want me to put my apology in, because I'm not letting you take me to court for $50 million. She ain't got $50 million. Like he knows that. This is about clearing his name.
Fair.
Yeah. And to me, 50 million is a based on the rules. Like, it sounds ridiculous to us, but think about him. He's a $20 million a movie man. And if it affects 2.5 movies, that's $50 million. No, she can't pay it. But based on the law and defamation, yeah, absolutely. For me, if somebody defamed me, I'd be like, all right, I'm suing for $13.48 because I didn't get, 2 gigs. So
yeah. Hey, fun
joke for my
fact.
value.
He said today on the stand he never has seen a single Pirates movie.
Yeah, it's weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. All right, let's talk about news. Let's get into it. Because there's hundreds of thousands of people paying attention to. I'm in and out again. Awesome. This is so frustrating.
Maybe just turn your camera off. And we just don't.
Where are you at, Russo? Are you in Dallas? Are you?
Yeah, but I know I'm at Tarleton University. This has been my solving. This was supposed to solve my problem.
No, I was only asking because I'm seeing my internet do the same thing right now. Okay, he's out.
Apparently, Wi-Fi isn't racist, Sunni, because you and I are straight.
It's only the white man that can't get it to work. I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, but you're fuzzy. Y'all both ain't clear.
I can tell it. It keeps coming up and warning me, hey, your connection's unstable, and I don't know what's going on. So for the first topic, should we just run with the Durham report? Let's go. Should we do that one?
Let's go.
Okay. Mo, you want to run with that?
Yeah, I'm going to run with it. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best for you people out there that are, I'm sure, are really confused and probably not wanting to admit that you are, because it is confusing. Okay. And the other thing, I'm going to say this before I kind of go into what we're talking about, but this is something that you're not going to see just pop up on your timeline, in your news feed, because it's just not there. Okay. I challenge you, go do a search for Durham Report, and everything that comes up is going to be months old. But just last week, Durham released a report that basically found proof that the whole Trump-Russia collusion thing was user-created. Now, everybody's like, what the hell does that mean? What does user-created mean? So not to go into a whole lot of detail, but this Trump-Russian collusion thing all started over this Russian phone called a, what is it called? A Yoda phone. It's called a Yoda phone, okay? So Trump had this Yoda phone with him, and they are claiming that he was using this Yoda phone to make these calls, to Russia, and this is how all the collusion was happening and blah, blah, blah. So in April of 2019, William Barr launched this whole Durham investigation. Okay, so that's how far back this goes. And this is probably why people really don't think anything is going to come of this, because this has been going on for so long. So basically, they looked into this and found that all of the activity that they claimed was happening on this Yoda phone was user created, meaning the little pings that they were picking up from it going to the White House, to Trump Towers, to Russia, to this, to that, was not something that was actually occurring. It was something that somebody made occur. Okay, they made it look like it was occurring. Now, the question I asked was, why is Trump using a Russian phone? Okay, why is Trump using a phone? Like, who's the one that said, hey, dude, here's the phone. This is the phone you're going to use, like when you need some privacy to make phone calls or whatever. That I don't understand. But the weird thing about it now is that this report has revealed that the CIA and the FBI were aware of this. They were aware that the White House servers were being tapped into by who knows who was doing it, okay? But they were aware of it, which basically means they were aware that there was espionage going on, and they did nothing about it, okay? So that's what this Durham report is kind of revealing now. And you have this guy, Michael Sussman, who is a cybersecurity lawyer, who has been indicted. To my knowledge, he's one of the first to be indicted. I don't remember when. I think he was indicted like 5 or 6 months ago. They've been going back and forth because they've been trying to throw the case out. It has not been successful in throwing it out. Now they're trying to subpoena the company called Fusion GPS that is a company that kind of works to do background investigations on candidates and things like that. They're trying to discredit them because they're trying to pull all the information they have on their end so they can see communications that were going back and forth to prove that this guy Sussman was up to no good on behalf of the Clinton campaign. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And this is where people are kind of left going, well, I'm confused. I thought this information already came out. Nothing's really happened. What I want to let people know is there is stuff happening. It's happening in the background. We're just not aware of it. And it makes me wonder what else is happening in the background that we're not aware of, you know, that's going to come out of this Durham report in relation to other things like the whole voter. I know this is like a silly subject that nobody wants to talk about, but the whole voter fraud thing that we haven't heard anything about. But now that we have all this other information, it, you know, kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah. Suni, what are your thoughts?
So,
well, I read an article that Hillary, because you were talking about limited coverage, and we don't really hear about it. Hillary threatened to sue media companies with malice if they did indeed cover it, because she said it's getting awfully close. This Hillary Clinton we're talking about, she could definitely manipulate. It's actually, let me not even say that, because a lot of things that we do say about Hillary is with malice. And we all know that, because there's a deep-rooted dislike for this lady across the country. But I think some things are allowed with malice. And then the fact that she could sue a company into shutting up, well, she literally did, because they don't talk about it. Conservative media doesn't really talk about the Durham report. I just found that interesting. You're threatening to sue. Why? If it's not true and everything is just BS, then why?
So that the Codaphone, you talked about that. So part of the issues from the get-go is people's lack of education, because I did some more research today on the Durham report, and because I've been wondering, I'm like, why does this make any sense? Well, you know, why? So the Codaphone, they said that there was a dozen of them in the United States. Whether or not Trump owned one still doesn't even actually, there's just somebody in the White House had a Codaphone. Codaphones are not just a dozen. At that time, it turns out there were hundreds of thousands of these devices in the United States. This could have been somebody working in the White House. This was not just President Trump's phone. And it's not necessarily a Russian phone. It's a Russian hardware. And it's just something that, by the way, probably can go under the radar of the bullshit that we have in the United States of America that tracks every single thing that we do. But apparently it's still trackable because they were tracking it. But then it turns out, like you said, that there was a big tech guy, and I don't have his name. I had all the articles up before this, but there's a big tech guy that is involved in this. And then there's the quote unquote whistleblower, or the guy that traded immunity, that's testifying to all this. And this is why the indictments have come. This is not just a talk anymore. This is serious indictments. And these are people that were working for the Clinton campaign. This is why this is such a big deal. In fact, is $43 million were spent on the is it the Steele dossier? Was that when we went through all this? $43 million of taxpayer money, because of something that even the CIA knew at the time was fabricated by Sussman. Sussman is really the key to the whole thing, because he really is the one that drove this home. This is a big deal that there's going to be hundreds of millions of people in the United States of America that will never understand that Russian collusion was not just not real. It was a marketing campaign by the Clinton camp that literally, if they want to talk about destroying democracy, that destroyed democracy, because of the fact that nobody will properly cover this. And there's going to be millions of people that just think that Russian collusion is a real thing. It's not, period.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, I challenge everybody to kind of look at everything that's going on, from the pandemic to the Steele dossier, to the Twitter thing with Elon Musk, to the, chaos going on in Russia and Ukraine, the voter fraud, this thing, it's not all just random little events that are taking place. These all connect to one big thing, which is the deep state, the swamp, trying to hide everything. Oh, even the Hunter Biden laptop. This is all connected in one way or another. We just haven't seen the order enough to make it make sense. But I really feel like, I mean, they are really going hard to try to keep this Fusion GPS company's information from being used in this court case against Sussman, because I think that that's probably going to be the missing link that they need to take this even further, so.
Speaking of the Hunter Biden laptop, I'm going to be very careful how I say this, but it looks real. What are the deal with the photos with the big guy and the young appearing lady of slightly darker complexion in those photos? Have you guys seen these yet?
Yes.
I have, and let me tell you, I'm reading The Laptop from Hell, which is an excellent book. And it just I mean, you guys, the stuff that we have seen on social media about this laptop does not pale in comparison to what is put in this book. Like, just the sickest things you have ever heard of in your life. Not just that, but the way that Joe Biden has a relationship with him, the relationship he has with his grandchildren, the relationship he has with his son's wife. I mean, it is just disgusting that this man is allowed to run our country with all this information that we know.
We'll just jump into Biden looking worse and worse. I don't know if anybody can pull up some clips while we're chatting about it. We can come back to the Durham Report a little bit, but I think we covered it. But I mean, everybody's seen the handshake that never happened. And then the Easter Bunny and Jill Biden telling him to wave at the crowd and him being so confused. Like, have we reached a whole new level of him being just completely gone at this point? Like, I each week it gets worse, which is a sign of dementia. It's a sign of these problems. Go ahead and play what you got.
Oh, it's just a video that I loop while you're talking.
Yeah.
Like, this is the Easter thing.
Like,
yeah, there's many doctors even coming out and saying these are signs of dementia or a mental issue that he has. But no one wants to give it any attention at all. Fox News, CNN, all of them, they're practically ignoring it. Some are talking about it, but it's not getting the attention it deserves. Not at all.
By the way, this comment made me think of the fact that how do we know everything going on in the Johnny Depp trial, but the Ghislaine Maxwell, like, it never happened? Super weird.
Right.
No, I don't. I mean, Suni, I know sometimes you don't like beating the drum over and over, but have you noticed in the last month that progressively Biden has made more? I mean, it was hard to do, but I feel like in the last month he is continuing to make more and more gaffes that just are absurd at this point for us to realize is the leader of the quote unquote free world.
Yeah. I think the best thing for us on this side is to just say, look, everyone said he had dementia during his run. Everyone said he had it during election night. We said he had it during the debates. I honestly don't know how much more clear we can make it on this side. You can't deny it. His approval rating is in the garbage, bro. Forget the garbage, in the sewer. Everyone is seeing, whether they want to admit it or not. People understand that Joe Biden is horrible. They do. Even folks who hate Trump. You're even starting to have a lot of cultural influencers on the black side. Charlemagne, the Breakfast Club. They're a lot more vocal about their disdain for Joe Biden and his administration. And I, for one, I think that's good for them to do, although I will never agree with half the stuff they say. It's for us to point out, like, see, I told you. Remember when I said this 6 months ago? Hell, a year ago? Here we go. This is what's running the country. But to spend a crazy amount of time on it like people do, I honestly would be irritated if the news covered it as much as we actually want it to be covered. If they just highlighted it, I think that would be good. But to do what they did to Trump, I couldn't even say that I would be interested in that. But I do think it needs to be a topic.
But the comparison between Trump and Biden, like, they'll still, like, as Mitch today kept highlighting the thing about Clorox, which maybe he didn't word it great. And Anomaly even said that, like, maybe he didn't say things perfectly and he was asking about something on the stage. That's still something we talk about. What it was yet 2 years later now. And yet, I mean, we've got a president that is handshaking air because he doesn't know where he is. And yes, I agree that there is a beating a dead horse, but then the alternative is, where does it get us? Do we go ahead and play the clip? Oh my God.
I mean, if you think about it, if they were to impeach Biden, America is done for.
We're in worse shape.
Whatever they're doing behind the scenes to make it seem like he is in control, they're no longer going to have to do that. They're just going to do whatever the hell they want. So impeachment, I'm going to tell people to pump their brakes on impeachment, because the next two you got in line are Kamala, and she can't even string a comprehensive sentence together, because right here in this moment at this time, tomorrow, the same day, the time is now, and the time is now to do that right now. That's how our VP speaks.
Can I?
But see, this is why I pray. I'm sorry, Casey. I'll let you.
No, you go ahead.
This
you
is
go
why,
ahead.
This is why I pray to God that this Durham report reveals something else about the election, because the only saving grace we have is to have a decertified election, which would take Biden, Kamala, and every single person that they appointed with them, because it would be null and void. I know that that's never happened before, but like, that's the only thing that we have. Seriously.
Let me give another idea here on what could happen. So we have 2022 elections that are coming up in November, right? We're only 7 months out, and they're already setting up to be very strong, to be switching to more of a more to the right, some libertarian, some Republican view, right? And if they are going to switch in that, and they actually were able to take over power in moving from the Democratic view, at that point, why does it matter who is sitting as the president or making those decisions if we have the House and the Senate switching powers?
True.
I mean, I'll say why.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if red runs the House or the Senate. Red is in bed with blue. We know that. We have to be putting people in there that are actually going to do America first things. If they're not, it would be no different than putting Mitch McConnell back where he was, and we're going to have a do-nothing Congress once again with a red wave. It doesn't change until we remove these old-ass white people. Sorry. I'm going to say it. They need to go.
But but like right now, who would that be, Suni?
There's no, you have to take steps in a direction, right? It can't immediately change overnight, as you said. Like if we were to pull the 25th Amendment, what would happen? It would be Kamala be in place, right? And then she would have to nominate her VP,
Obama,
and which would probably be either Obama. I bet it would be more Hillary than anything, but it would become a crazy nightmare. But if we are focused on November election, it's a step forward to where we can start making some changes and control it to where we feel we want control. Now, Mitch McConnell, I want out, but he was just reelected in 2020. So we can't remove him until 2024. So he's going to be there for a while. So let's focus on what we can do, which I think we have a great opportunity to overturn things and change it and make this into where we can make some stepping stones and improve our country for the time being.
I agree, but I really do. I'm going to go with Mo. Like at this point, I think you painted the picture that's correct. There is no good right now, unfortunately. And I think ultimately, hopefully, is something in the next year, because I think the 2022 elections will obviously become a quote unquote red wave. But does that matter? Because ultimately, there's Joe Manchins of the world that are still technically blue, that are fighting for our country more than a lot of the rhinos. And I think a lot of the rhinos we didn't even know. Dan Crenshaw snuck up on us, and like lately he's been doing things that I actually agree with. So he goes back and forth. He wavers based on whatever at the time is convenient, especially when he gets to join in with the World Economic Forum. There's huge issues there. They're all playing the same game. So I think ultimately a lot has to do with the presidency. And I know that Trump is not the answer to all of our problems, but I do think that he is. There's a lesser of two evils and a much, much lesser. And then at that point he can, I don't know. Honestly, we're so far away from it that ultimately it needs to continue to be power of voice and getting education out there on how absolutely garbage all politicians are at this point. Go ahead, Casey.
Well, let me reiterate. So what I'm saying is we have to take advantage of the opportunities to remove the people that are causing these problems when we have the opportunity in each election. That's what I'm saying. Like, yes, I'm using some vague terms, but that is what needs to be done. Like, right now, one of the things that I'm getting involved here locally is there is a person going up against Mike Lee that has a very good chance of replacing him, and his last name is McMullen. Evan McMullen is his name, and that is a scary person. He's worse than Mitt Romney, very worse than Mitt Romney, but he runs as a libertarian. He is awful. We are not in Utah. We are not putting anybody up against Mike Lee from the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is backing Evan McMullen, which is a libertarian, in quotes. And so that is what we have to be going against, is removing the people that we don't want in there and enforcing that. And I'm not saying red wave is the solution, but I'm saying just removing the people that we don't want. Democrats are taking themselves out. They're easily just removing themselves.
Casey, that's my point. It's hard to know who, because people are running on bullshit platforms. That's the problem. We don't really know.
Just find someone new.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, with the people that we're bringing in, we're thinking we're voting for something and we're getting something else. Like I think a lot of it is going to come to just continuing to push a narrative of showing what is really going on in this country. And Joe Manchin's a Democrat, to whoever said this.
I think, a friend of mine today said something really, really made a good point. And he said, we just need to stop worshiping these people. Like that, yes. That's where we can start right now. Like, Trump is not our savior. Like, nobody. We just have to stop worshiping these people and get back to, we need to take our power back. That's what Trump always used. If there's something that we need to learn from Trump, it's that. We need to take our power back. We need to use our voice. It's like people just going, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we don't have to wear masks on the airplane anymore. I'm like, I didn't wear masks in the airport anyways. You know what I mean? Like, you actually had a choice the entire time. Our friend Bryson, he didn't fly because he refused to wear a mask, period. And I commend him for that. He took a stand. Was it hard? I'm sure. He had to drive a lot of miles to get to events that he needed to do. But, all along we had a choice. But people went along with shit. And we need to stop doing that. That's where we can start now.
Yeah. It's into a slippery slope, though. You got to make sure that you know who you're voting for, right? And you got to make sure the candidates are logical. But we have to start removing people. And we also, I don't even know how to do this. This is one thing that's on my mind, and everybody loves it, loves the idea of it because they say it all the time. Term limits for Congress. There needs to be term limits for Congress. But how do we do that? Because we're technically putting in a limit for their job. And how do we get them to vote for it? It's going to be very difficult. And the only way I see doing that is putting new people in office and working that way.
Yeah, I still don't think that works.
Well, have you tried it?
Well, there's been turnover in office. Yeah, I noticed that. Am I back now? Am I good? Check.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, the thing that needs to happen is there needs to be a game changer president that can do an executive order that he force feeds through Congress, because it's just not going to happen. There needs to be a DeSantis. There needs to be somebody that will start the trend, because Congress will not do it. Whether it's DeSantis or whoever, I'm just saying somebody that is a complete further outsider than anything else that we have ever had. Because if you once you put somebody into Congress, they all of a sudden realize the power that they wield, and they start getting bait from the group of why term limits can't go away. It's a never-ending process.
Yep.
The only person that can end it is the person that does have a term limit to say, I need to fight for the American people, and that's how they start it, and that's how they make deals. There has to be deals done from the top to the bottom, plain and simple.
An executive order will not work. An executive order is temporary, dude. Like
exactly.
Executive orders is a dictatorship. We cannot be utilizing executive orders. Period.
Okay, so period, story open again, because if you don't do it that way, then you have way too many cooks in the kitchen. If you don't have a head chef that starts it, I get that an executive order is temporary. That's why I said there has to be bills and deals that are grouped with the way that the Democrats love to take advantage of the Green New Deal stuff is they'll say, let's give funding here and then shovel in hundreds of millions to billions of dollars in other places. That's how they have to do it. There are candidates that support term limits, but they are in the minority. There is not enough of them. So ultimately, if that's the biggest issue, which I agree, is you have to vote in people that are willing to do term limits across the board. That has to be one of the first topics you bring up. And if you have a president that automatically has a term limit, that is somebody that will buck the system, they will create an executive order. That's where it starts, and then they will work with the lawmakers. They will work with the lawmakers to actually find a way to create bills that have to get passed. But it starts from the top, and it does start with an executive order to change the scope of the country. That is the power of one person that can make a decision.
You realize executive orders can be overrode by Congress, right?
You're not listening. I'm saying that, and maybe I'm cutting out. Yes, it can get overrode by Congress. It starts with the president, and then he force feeds it in a bill. He or she, sorry, woke America, he or she, Suni just rolled her eyes. He or she will get it into the hands of the right people in Congress to force the bill to be something that has to get done. It starts at the top. That's it. A bunch of local Congress members aren't going to actually get the job done because they're going to lose to the masses. This is why our government is broken as is.
We're going to agree to disagree. A president is not the one to be able to make those decisions. It's up to us in electing the right people.
I'm looking at it from. Sorry, I know we're we're filibustering, as Mitch would like to say, this conversation, but you're not understanding what I'm saying. Your concept is impractical. It's almost impossible. Whereas not at all. If one person starts the decision and works a deal in, it's completely plausible instead of going against hundreds of people. How many people are in Congress? What is it? 500 total between the Senate and the House?
547, I believe.
If it's going between the two of them, how are you going to get them to pass this bill without somebody from the top being the number one person to lead, to be the actual person leading it? It is the most important piece in this puzzle is the president.
You do not need 100% to pass. You need 60%. And so with the changes in what is anticipated for 2022 election and what is anticipated if this continues into 2024, you will have 60% to pass.
I would love to see it. I don't think it's a practical response. I don't think it's practical, but I would love to see it. We'll see. I guess we'll find out. All right, let's go to the next topic. Since Suni's bored, we're not going to do Elon just yet. We'll go into Ilhan Omar, because I know you said that you might hurt somebody if we talked about Elon, which we are still going to talk about, but we're going to take a little time out. We're going to do Ilhan, and then we're going to talk about the shootings. Then we'll end it with Elon, poison pill, BlackRock, Bill Gates, all that good stuff. So who wants to lead in the anti-Christian that sits on our current Congress? Suni, do you want this?
Hey, you came to America to flee your shithole country, and yes, I'll say it. Okay. And now you come to our country and you want to eliminate why this country was established to begin with. People can freely work. You don't get to open your mouth and pipe up because you hear Christians on a damn plane singing a song. We got to be scared of people with the Taliban looking hats on their head for how long? What is the big deal? I don't understand why foreigners come to America and try to switch up how we do things because they don't like it. I don't even understand why the fuck she got airtime for that asinine comment. She's disgusting. I hate her and the whole squad. And yes, I said hate because they're diabolical women. I do not. This is the main reason I don't like girls, bro. This is why I don't like women. You had that much time in your day to pick up your phone and have fucking Twitter fingers and complain about a song you didn't like on a plane. Well, what if I started to pray? Well, then pray. I'm sure Americans would not give a flying fuck if you pulled your towel out and prayed to the north, south, east, or west. I, for one, wouldn't say nothing to you.
It happens here. I remember when my daughter went and got her license, we were at the place and the guy literally like the Mecca alarm clock started going off, and he took his little he took his little carpet and went into the other room, and he said, I pray to Mecca, I gotta pray to Mecca. Business stops. Okay. Did we leave? Did we get upset? No. He's It was. It was like a little. It was a little.
I gotta be honest. I gotta play devil's advocate on this one because I gotta be honest. I mean, I can't stand her. Like I don't think she's right in any way, shape, or form. But never has there ever been a bunch of Christians that brought down a plane. I'm just throwing that out there. So I do firmly believe that if all of a sudden there's a bunch of people that started doing the Ramadan chant on a plane, people would freak the F out just because of history. It's not racist. It's more like, hey guys, you've got a track record with this one. Let's go ahead and save that for the ground. Can we do that? Can we
save that for the ground?
So let's play the video.
It's muted, by the way.
A group of people singing Christian worship music on an airplane has gone viral and sparked considerable. Video originates from a Facebook post by Jack.
Dang it! I didn't hear the audio. I just saw the
posted
video.
To
Let me find another one. Hang on.
Sorry, all right, fine. Because I do want to say there's a guy in it that definitely looks uncomfortable. You know what? As we're all Christians, and I know we have varying levels of what we believe, Christianity. I love it. I'd get into it. I would enjoy the song. But at the same time, I get that maybe it's not appropriate for everybody on the plane, but I don't really care. Like, it worked. People were having a good time. People were happy. Like, I'm good with that. There was one guy that was clearly uncomfortable. I felt a little bad for him because we're gonna before I explain my thought process on that, let's go ahead and let's see if we can find the video. I had everything queued up, and then
in the meantime, Suni, pull up the soundbite for the call to Mecca so everybody knows what I'm fucking talking about. This is what I heard in the DMV office, y'all, in Texas.
In Texas.
Yeah, and he had like a little alarm clock. It was like a little alarm clock.
And I'm okay with this. I just don't want it on a plane because of previous history. I have to be very clear.
Listen, if you hear the call to Mecca on a plane, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Look at these people. They're crazy. They're crazy. And you want to talk about 15 Christians on a plane? Give me a break.
We're gonna be called xenophobic for this clip in the show. I just want you guys to know. They're playing the call to Mecca. Look at them. They hate Muslims.
I don't hate Muslims.
Does the Muslims have a version of This Little Light of Mine? Like, this little bomb of mine, I'm going to let it slow. No? Bad? Okay, now we're definitely going to be labeled xenophobes. Awesome. Sorry, we're getting taken.
No wonder why we end up getting shadow banned. Nice.
But for real though, if you hear a chorus of Jesus Loves Me on a plane and you hear the other thing that we just heard right now, which one's going to make you run for the exit and grab your oxygen mask? Which one?
This little infidel of mine, I'm going to make America my beach. Okay, let's go and play this. That guy in the blue.
He's probably like, bro, shut up.
You are worthy of all praise.
Yeah, I have to be clear. I don't think Muslims are weird. I'm actually very supportive of all religions. I'm just trying to be funny. But in all reality, that guy in the blue in the beginning, like, his wife was kind of like getting into it. And we talked about this yesterday. But like, I feel like she clearly, like, Christian family, because she's digging it, and then he's upset, and it's like she does not realize that he totally cheated on his wife. he cheated on her like 2 days later, like 2 days before. Let's be clear. He's like, oh my God, after this flight, it's going to be very awkward that my super Christian wife is going to find out that I've been sleeping with the nanny. Son of a bitch. That's the look on his face. And she's kind of got this like, I love Jesus, but I got a feeling he's cheating. That's what I saw out of this video. Not to read into things too much, but
right. He's like firmly gripping the Dora the Explorer panties he has in his pocket. Did anybody get offended when Kanye brought the whole Sunday service choir on a plane? And did anybody remember that?
No, everyone shared the shit out of it. They were like, "Ooh, look at them! They sound so nice." And Ilhan Omar herself from the shithole country didn't say anything either.
We should have elected Kanye instead of Biden, but that's all right.
It still would have been better. I do have an issue with Pete Davidson having 3 tattoos already about Kardashian somewhere on his body. It's terrifying. Terrifying that I just talked about it. Okay, so if you know what, do me a favor. If you think, and I know most of our viewers are Christian, if you think that that should not be allowed on the plane, hit 3. Just put 3 in the comment box. If you think it should be allowed on the plane, say Jesus. Just do Jesus. Jesus or 3. 3
this
means
chat
no.
better light up with Jesus. That's all I know.
If the call to Mecca would scare the shit out of you, put a bomb emoji in the chat right now.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody, at the count of 3, we are all going to sing Die America. Ready?
Right.
So
I've got the bomb. I've got the bomb.
This is my favorite song. It's the bomb. Okay.
3. We got a 1-3.
Got a 3.
It shouldn't be
I think that's
allowed.
fair.
I just want to know why, though. This is what I don't get, right? I don't get how Americans can call themselves patriots and quote 1776 and all this other crazy bullshit, but then say, well, no, you shouldn't be allowed to sing these songs on a plane. I honestly don't care. I don't care if I heard the call to Mecca. Now, I probably would be a little uneasy if I heard that on the plane. I'd be like, bro,
Dude,
what is about to happen? I'm getting up and I'm walking the aisles, bro.
I'd be paying that $29. I'd be paying that $29.99 for internet and being like,
shit's about to go down. Nice. What is happening? But it wouldn't I wouldn't be offended. I just wouldn't.
I think it's one of those ones in the moment.
Culture.
I know. I just
and you know what? Someone needs to do that. Someone needs to play that on a plane and record the reaction.
What, the call to Mecca?
Yeah. I'm going to do that on my way back.
I have a question. What do they do? Do they fly around the call to Mecca? Because what do they do if they're in the air and it's Mecca time?
I don't know.
It's Mecca time. That's another song they could play. They could do. Stop. Mecca time.
Mecca time. Hey, hey.
Oh, God.
See, I'm gonna call myself a threesis on this one because I do get it. Like I do get that it's a little invasive. I think it's awkward.
What?
But I would enjoy it. I would be a part of it. But I get that. Unfortunately,
see, that's a slippery slope because then someone can say, "Well, I don't feel like rap music should be sung here. This isn't appropriate for this." Like, it's a slippery
great
slope.
Question. Would I think it's okay if somebody just started busting out, being like, "Hey guys, we got our dance crew here, and real quick for you all, we're gonna do wet ass pussy for everybody. You all ready? All right." And if that was on a plane, it's awkward.
But it was Easter Sunday, y'all. Let's just put it around. Like they weren't just like busting.
Put some respect on Jesus' name. That's all I'm gonna say, bro.
Put some respect.
Put some respect on Jesus' name.
So I just saw a funny joke on TikTok. This woman did this thing. She's like, her mom, I guess she was already in her like 30s or 40s. Her mom called, was like, what does WAP mean? And she was like, Mom, that means worship and praise.
And praise.
So the mom went and started like putting on all of her social medias, like Facebook. She's like, I have been just giving the WAP to everybody all day today.
Oh, wow.
The girl that did the TikTok was like, whoops. So good. Yeah. Anyways.
Dang.
Got called that's called a white. That's a new one. And by the way, that's in China. That's called a Uyghur, and they're in concentration camps.
Call it a wicker.
Eager. Let's go ahead and talk. I'm going to save the Jack Dorsey talk for the Elon conversation because I think it's interesting. But we are going to go to the shootings. If we can move on now, are we good to move on? Yeah, let's move on.
Sure.
Let's
The
go from
shootings.
bombs
To shootings, because brown folks and then black folks,
be
perfect
right
in
back.
harmony.
This sounds like flavors that Joe Biden likes to order from the ice cream
Brown
shop.
and black.
Like, I like chocolate chip. Somebody shake my hand. Maybe that's what he was looking for. He's looking for a fucking ice cream cone. Pardon my French.
Maybe.
Oh, that's a good sound effect of the door. Mo's got like the creepy
No.
door. What is
I
behind
know.
her?
I
Ring
know. I
light
had to
and
go.
a
I
whiteboard.
Oh, it's interesting.
had to come. I'm having like my eyes watering. Sorry.
Oh, tears of joy talking about the call to Mecca. Whatever.
All right.
I'm gonna do that on the plane on the way back. Y'all don't even understand.
Hey, you better record it. That's all I got to say.
They're probably gonna kick me off the plane. I'm gonna be banned for life.
They'll stop
Kelly
us
was
from
real-
random island with no landing or anything and just drop you out.
Kelly was really upset that we weren't flying yesterday when they made the announcement on planes, like you can take the mask off, because Kelly has this thing of she loves that one video where the guy on the plane goes, "Can I get a hi yeah?" And she would have done that then. Have you guys heard that and seen that? I can't do it. I sound like an idiot. But
The hell
No.
yeah.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Not at
Sonny?
all.
See, why is it that the brown people on here have no clue what y'all are talking about? I'm telling you.
Oh, it was on
My
it-
feed
it-
on
probably looks
TikTok.
completely different from your feed. Even on TikTok. I think across social media, you would be like, Sunni, what the fuck?
well, no, you Suni, I totally
Dude,
get it. And that's
Sunni's feed is probably wild.
yeah, it is. I can't imagine. But
Yeah,
Suni,
well, of
that's
course.
my fault. It's totally my fault because I forgot it was on a commercial for what to do and what to buy if you have a high credit score. That's why you haven't seen it. That's my
Hey,
bad.
my credit score is
Oh.
800. That's all I'm gonna say. I get whatever I want, and I'm 31.
I thought you were going to say you were going to have to be able to use the internet. So
No, that's a myth.
Funny,
You
but-
know, a lot of us don't know how to manage our money, but the younger generation is very much so financially responsible
yeah,
to our counterparts. I will say
Fiscally
now, more so now.
yeah, buying those Glocks.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of shit. Now. I'm gonna invest in gun companies too, and make my social credit score take a whole deep dive.
Damn.
Then you could call me
Moving on.
black.
Speaking of shootings, let's go ahead and let's talk. So we got South Carolina, Grand Rapids, and New York. Suni, you talked a lot about Grand Rapids this week. Everybody talked about New York. Well, not everybody. It got quiet. It got quiet pretty quickly. South Carolina is the thing that nobody talked about, which I think is shocking. Who knows the most about South Carolina in this group? Because it's not me. I just know that the outcome of the guy is currently loose. Casey, you got this?
I don't, and it's not a single guy. From my understanding, it's really difficult because it's out there in mainstream media, and it's turning out to not fit a narrative that they're trying to push. So, my understanding so far is it was multiple people, around 3 is what their assumption is right now. The thing that I find ridiculous is what mall doesn't have a shitload of cameras? How do you not know who fired off guns? Should be pretty
Right.
easy to figure that out. But in South Carolina, in the mall shooting, it was 3 people. But there was also a whole bunch of other shootings that have occurred also in the last couple days too. The thing that I really wanted to talk around this, because what it was is it seems like 2 groups of people in South Carolina were going against each other. The people that were injured were hitting crossfire or just stray bullets is what it was. It was not an intended event. Was the mall shooting? One
No,
was
I got
released
it.
on-
Go
yeah,
ahead. I just keep talking. Casey. Yeah, this is the
yeah,
this is the
one of them.
mind-boggling part.
But there's a couple other people that are supposed to be associated with him.
So
Supposedly.
they've made 2 arrests, right? They've arrested 2 people so far.
I believe
That's
they've
what,
only arrested.
that's what I'm
one.
looking at right now too.
Is it 2
Yeah,
now?
it said
Good.
second person arrested.
Good.
Well, you guys know why this is not getting any airtime. I mean, I think we all know.
Because it's
This
gang
is-
Because
violence.
there was no Asians hurt.
Exactly. There's no Asians. You didn't have black men hating every group on the planet.
It
NY
wasn't
shooter.
LGBTQ.
Exactly. There wasn't a story in it. This is why I didn't understand why there was such a huge ruckus behind the New York thing. Like, excuse me, we have mass shootings every freaking weekend in America. Stop the cap.
Correct.
Mass shootings happen all the time in America. They're not isolated special events. It depends on which of these shootings fits a narrative. Is when the media will put it on blast for everyone to see. And that's when our government will come on to say, hey, gun control, executive order. Okay, let's push some legislation. Period.
Well, and that's what's being done, right? Joe Biden signed an executive order to limit some ghost guns stuff, which we did talk a little bit about before.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these things, that's what's happening is more of this stuff is being promoted throughout the media to push a narrative. And that's what is happening. Now, the part that's falling apart for them is these shootings are actually being done by black people and like New York subway, for example.
Whoa. Careful.
Well,
Go ahead.
Whatever. It's true.
No,
And
we account for most of the mass shootings in America. That's true.
Okay, that's Suni. Can you clarify that? Because that's actually, sorry, Casey, that's an important point. People, and we've said this before, and I think it's important to bring that up. People always use the phrase mass shooters are white males, and that is not accurate. That's what we see.
True.
The definition of a mass shooting,
right?
School shooters, yes, but they use the word mass shooters because I think it's got just like the programming we see on the media. Mass shooter is a definition of 3 or more people shot in an instance. Mass shootings happen every 4 hours in Chicago, for F's sake. They happen all over the country. So in terms of mass shooting, if you look at the statistics, it actually sways heavily on the minority communities. It is not all white male. School shootings are the only things that are white males. Sorry, just wanted to clarify. I think that's a very important point that most people don't actually know.
It's true. And I think that, like you said, people need to understand the definition of mass shooting. It's when a group of people are shot. It doesn't matter the setting. It doesn't matter if they were in a home, outside at the park. It's a mass shooting, and we do account for most of the mass shootings that occur in America. And I don't think that should be a major deal. Like, oh, black people are doing this. It's the only thing that this should be brought up for is to contrast what the media is doing. When we get to the New York shooter, I'll definitely say my piece on that. And a lot of people were angry with me and frustrated with me because of that. But I'm kind of getting tired of the race baiting and perpetuating bullshit that both sides do. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just there's shitty people, and then there's not shitty people, plain and simple. And it's
exactly.
And it's and I hate counterbalancing it to like, hey, the statistics lean black, but fact is, I'm just trying to prove a point that mass shooters are not just white males, because it's painted that picture of this white supremacist country, and it's not. There's just shitty people. And honestly, a lot of these mass shootings, whether they're white or black, are happening based on gang violence. They're happening, like Suni says, in random cities and different places, and they're happening downtown. And they're a bunch of people that are not a single, and this is an important point, not a single gun control law would have prevented any of these shootings. Zero, zilch. Actually, in fact, you look at something like the gun-free zones, like the New York subway. These are places where people could not fight back. There was a girl today in, use your brain, Anthony, where was it? Somewhere, I think Stockton, California, 15-year-old girl, a 40-year-old Hispanic male came in and stabbed was he Hispanic? Whatever. 40-something-year-old male that did not have a student in the school came in, sliced this girl up, stabbed her, killed her, and left the school. They were able to apprehend the guy. But this is something that, gun-free zones aren't necessarily preventing crime. They're actually sometimes making it worse. Actually, always making it worse, to be totally clear on my point.
And
this is what I mean. Like, not to cut you off, Casey. This is a dumbass comment, bro. If we're going to counter this country being labeled white supremacist and counter white people being labeled white supremacists, there's no way I, as a black woman, am going to let you sit here and make that dumbass comment. Like, that's the shit that I'm talking about. If I'm going to stand up and use my name to defend very good black people, white people in this country, and not that's a dangerous label to be attributing to anybody, bro. He's an asshole.
But okay, so I agree with you, but maybe he worded it incorrectly and improperly. So black supremacist being a term, like for example, the guy in the
Subway.
In Subway he had videos of him. I mean,
Mhm.
he was technically a black supremacist. So I just
Yeah.
think, and maybe this, we don't know the statistics. Maybe this year where those are getting more news and traction, or maybe they're more violent. The guy that killed people in Kenosha, Wisconsin, I believe, as though had some videos out there talking poorly about white people. So again, if there was white people saying, I can't wait to kill these whatever folks, and they did it, that's a white supremacist. I think there is more news surrounding Waukesha. There's more news surrounding it. So technically it's not an incorrect statement.
No, it is, because he made anti-black statements. He said we should. Matter of fact, I'll play the video.
And if they tried to exterminate us, I would not be mad at them one bit, because of and that's what you are, refuses to understand that you have a serious problem that you have not dealt with since they so-called set you free, and they didn't set you free. They turned you loose. You cannot set free a domesticated animal. You can only turn it loose. And that's what was done to you. And your refusal to understand that means the death of your children.
This man is talking about black people.
I think
this is why I'm not going to
So-
label him a black supremacist. He hated Puerto Ricans. He said they shouldn't exist. He said blacks should be exterminated. People who don't think like him, their children should be exterminated. He could very well hate white people, but I'm sorry. I can't sit here and allow white people to attach this victim BS to themselves, and we call BLM out for it, labeling everyone a white supremacist. I'm not going to do that.
I don't want to. Well, I'm not discounting what you're saying because I get it. But with that said, so Puerto Ricans are not black, so that still falls under the black supremacist comment. Now, your comment about him talking about black people is very valid, but the other video that I've seen of him, he was referring to black people that are friends with white people. So I don't know the full context of that video. He was telling another black man, he's like, if you think a white man's gonna ever give a shit about you, so that does have elements of black supremacy. If for black people like him, if he feels as though those that alienate themselves from all other races and think that they're better, that technically by definition is a black supremacist. Again, I think a lot of it is out of context. I don't think calling him a black supremacist is necessarily wrong without more information. Personal opinion, that's just what I'm saying. I don't love the supremacist term. I do think he does actually fit it. I do think there's some white people that fit it as well. But I think just the tossing of the term improperly. If this was a black dude that just was like shot up a subway or randomly and didn't have any videos.
This is a moment for white people to say, look, a black supremacist, look, the guy who ran over all those people, black supremacists, look, he hated Trump. Like, it's the first thing that people brought up. You guys would be, I'm not even saying you guys, period, but I'm speaking in a general term. You would be against BLM doing this. So why now, when it fits your narrative, can you now say, well, the term does fit him, and we did see a couple videos. We will say on the other side, a few videos don't define the person.
I think it's actually playing on the fact that the media is so quick to be like, this is a white supremacist. So I think people were just very eager to be like, this is a black supremacist. You know what I mean? I agree with you, Suni, and I agree with, I think this particular gentleman was just a very ill person. Like, from the way he was speaking, he was very mentally unstable, and that's really what he is. But I think it's just them making a point that, like, the minute a white person, shoots up a building or a mall and there is one black person, they are labeled a white supremacist just because of that. Like, they take it to that extreme. And I think that that's where they were going with it, is like, let's take this to an extreme. This guy said some crazy shit.
But if a guy is a white supremacist, I'll call it out. Like if a white guy does, and here's the thing, a white supremacist also has severe mental illness. You're not a white supremacist without mental illness, plain and simple. So I think mental illness is real in this guy. It's real in them. I think if clips to me are still hinting at him being a black supremacist. I also have never, again, I haven't used that word until we've talked about it on this show. I am saying the person that made the comment, whoever that was, who made a really funny comment afterwards, he said, Black Hebrew Israelite is what he meant. I think it's a valid place for people to jump to. And I do think that his videos, his persona, his quote unquote targeting does seem to portray something that would be a black supremacist. And if there was a white person that did the same thing, I would not be like, that's terrible for them to call him a white supremacist. I would be like, oh shit, why did this guy have to do this? I would understand that he is welcoming the terminology for Black Lives Matter to say, or whomever, the media to say that this was a white supremacist. There's times I've seen stories like this and I'm like, son of a bitch, like God, just furthering the damn narrative. I understand why people call things out. That's just that's my opinion. I have not used the term black supremacist in terms of him. I've called him a shithead to this point. But I'm just understanding why that gentleman said that is all I'm saying. That's it.
I mean, I made a comment and I said, I wonder how long it's going to take for the media to call him a black supremacist. I said that on my Instagram page and I was making that distinction. The media is so quick to say this is a white supremacist when they might be a white supremacist. So I was just waiting on the media to keep it consistent. As you know, Sudi loves consistency. I was just waiting on the media to keep it consistent and label whatever they wanted to put a label on this guy, but they didn't put a label on him at all.
We can end this one here. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Suni.
I hope that no one's surprised. They didn't talk about this mass shooting that happened in South Carolina because it doesn't fit their narrative. They're not going to talk about anything that doesn't fit their narrative.
Of course. Yeah, no, I know. That's why I said it, because I wasn't surprised. You know what I mean? And I was pointing out the fact that the media is full of shit.
I agree with Red Pill here, and this is where we'll end this because I do want to talk still about the Grand Rapids shooting. But why can't we just call it evil? He definitely wasn't black. Evil is 100%, but that doesn't mean those terms don't have to be synonymous. You can disagree that he was a black supremacist, but I can't, Suni, since we're the ones kind of going back, and maybe Mo too, I don't think there is a way we could say he definitely was not a black supremacist.
Because he talked about every single race. Just because he talked about whites a little more, not going to label him a black supremacist, because I wouldn't do it to a white person. If there was a white person doing this exact same thing, but I watched them equally talk about every single race, no, you are just a fucked up human.
What if a white person used the terminology like, because again, I do believe everything I've seen of this guy was him talking poorly, talking bad about Puerto Ricans and talking, I think there might have been a video about Asians. And then the video about black people is the only thing that I've seen, and I need context on the one you showed, is that it's people that buddy up to white people or think that white people are good. So that would be the same as a white person that talks poorly about white people that maybe date black people, calls them the N-word lover or whatever it might be. That is a white supremacist, is it not?
No, white supremacist thinks that his race is superior. So unless you can prove that that person thinks their race is superior and they think they're all being, simple words like that don't prove that they look at themselves like that. And I can say this with confidence because my mother uses racial slurs, but she doesn't view blacks as superior in any sort of way. And I would never label her a black supremacist just because she said a few off-colored things. I think that's the problem in society now. You hear certain words and you automatically attribute something to them without understanding the actual definition of words. No, I cannot say that.
I mean, I think if you're going by definition, you're correct, Suni. A black supremacist, whatever supremacist, you're considering your race supreme above all.
But if you're considering your race supreme all and the people that you talk down about that are your race are the ones that are talking to the other races, that still qualifies as a black supremacist.
No, because I'm black. A black supremacist, you want to know a real black supremacist is Fred Hampton. He honestly didn't care what another black person stood for. We're all black. It's a collectivist mindset. Period. He spoke down on black people because he equally is no different than a black Democrat. They simply hate us because we don't think like them. That's what he is. That's a black Democrat on blast.
What if he only was speaking down to black people that were friends with white people and partnered with white people? That's what I took from all of his videos.
Speaking down on a white person doesn't label the black guy as supremacist. Just like a white person speaking down on a black person doesn't label them as supremacist unless they think they're superior. And you didn't hear him say he feels he's superior. So you can't attribute that label to him. Because we wouldn't do
Malcolm
it.
X? Wouldn't that
He was a black supremacist. He was. Right. He was.
I'm gonna because I'm not fully on the opposite side of you. I don't necessarily know if he was a black supremacist based on what I've seen. I think he sways that way. I don't care what to call him. I call him a piece of shit, an evil guy. I'll agree with that. I just think that there is a little bit. That's actually an interesting term from Barack. Bigot. Would you call him bigot?
Sure.
Who?
Okay.
Malcolm X.
Sure.
Racist, maybe a racist, not a supremacist. I think there's 50 shades of dumbass on this one, and he falls somewhere in that category. Not exactly sure where.
This is my main point.
He's mentally ill.
He is mentally ill. I'm not going to coddle white people into this victim mentality. I'm not doing it. I don't do it with black people. I'm not going to sit and listen to white folks do it. I'm just not, and it's not happening. Unless you call these names, you need to be using them the right way. Same way I expect the other side to do it.
We spend way too much time trying to categorize people. Period.
Well, on behalf of Puerto Ricans, we don't give a shit what he said about us.
Oh, Mo, are you full Puerto Rican?
I'm half Puerto Rican, half Argentine.
God, you really should have watched the show today. Oh man, because they did the whole thing about the toilet paper roll in Puerto Rico, and Mitch would not drop Trump throwing paper towels to the Puerto Ricans, and because Anomaly is like 1/8 Puerto Rican, and Mitch just kept being like, "You're okay with that?" And Mitch is like,
first of all,
like, what the fuck? Like what? And it took 30 minutes to get off that topic.
When all you like guilty ass Americans sent all that shit over to Puerto Rico, well, I mean, it is technically the US, but you sent all the shit over to Puerto Rico, their government stole it from them. Okay. So don't ever send shit. Puerto Ricans are crooks. Okay.
Yeah. Shady. Let's talk about Grand Rapids before we move on to Elon and wrap the show.
Sure.
Yeah, and I know, and you know, Suni, you talked a lot about the Grand Rapids shooting, and I don't think we can play the video, nor should we, but police officer is wrestling with a 25-year-old, 26-year-old male, I believe. He was young. And it started out as a minor traffic violation from what I understand. And he ran away, if I'm not mistaken, and grabbed the police officer's taser, fighting with him, and the cop shot point blank in the back of the head. Did I catch everybody up to speed? Is that about right?
Yeah.
Suni, go ahead. What are your thoughts on it in terms of justified shooting? Not just first off, out of our 4 panelists, who thought it was a justified police shooting? Raise your hand.
Justified? Oh yeah, for sure.
Justified police shooting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like the way it was done, but I believe it was justified. Yes.
Within
Suni,
the law.
Okay. Go ahead.
Within the law, he grabbed his taser. He removed the taser from the police officer's possession. That is considered a deadly weapon. The cop could have shot him a lot earlier. Honestly, the fact that they struggled, I would have pegged that down to there needs to be a little bit more grapple training within the police force. But he was well within the law and the statutes in that city, in that state, to do what he did. Now, is it a clean shot? Do I view it as a good, clean shot? Absolutely not. I don't.
Okay.
And I've been consistent on that. And listen, Tracy, we have cops because there are people who just don't follow directions. So constantly bringing that up, why can't you just comply? why can't they just not break laws? Because they're criminals. He didn't want to go to jail.
What did he do? Do we know?
You won't die.
He
had swap plates. So
Yeah,
pretty much they are suspecting him of a stolen vehicle,
But he had a record. He had a record of stolen cars.
See, I didn't know that because that's hard to find in the media. All you're going to hear is upstanding. All I heard was upstanding 25-year-old male that was in a minor traffic violation. I haven't looked at it that much in the last week. That's why I was kind of leaning on your guys' information. Yeah. So a cop knows that this guy has a record. Does he have any violent crime in his record?
Well,
he didn't know when it happened.
He didn't know. Yeah. So that's the interesting thing about it. So the only thing he knew was that the plates did not belong on that car when he stopped him. He did not know the guy's name, obviously. So he wasn't able to look up his record. But what I was saying was, regardless of that, you saw as you were getting out of the car that the guy was also getting out of his car and he wasn't going to be compliant with you. So I really feel like the cop really took a lot of missteps in the beginning where and it's probably because of this guilt that cops have that, they need to like go easy on these guys and they need to give them the benefit of the doubt. No, he should have thrown him up against that car and said, I'm putting cuffs on you. You're going to sit on this curb and you're going to answer my questions and you're going to shut up. But no, he allowed that to keep going. And that's where,
cops aren't allowed to do that anymore. And I think that's where the problem lies. I talked to Officer Parker in January when he was there. They can't chase people.
It depends on state. You can't say
that's
that
only in Chicago.
Officer Parker is in DC, and he also works a little bit in
DC. Worse than Chicago.
There's multiple places where cops can't fully do their job, and I don't know what the exact rule is in Michigan or in Grand Rapids. But I can tell you, policing is not the way of old. There's most places you cannot use physical violence as a first resort. So it's the policy, and we'd have to look at the penal code and the actual process in Grand Rapids in that area, because they have rules that have made it impossible for police to do their job, and that's why. And I firmly believe if this is what we find out why, that it's escalated to that point. And I agree with you, Sunia. I don't think it's a clean shot. Like I think that there's a lot of different mistakes made, and anytime you have the upper hand in a physical position to shoot somebody in the back like that, the back of the neck, it's hard. It's hard to stomach. It's hard to watch. At the same time, yes, I do also still have that belief of you asked for it in that avenue. But at the same time, we asked for it as a people because we are now taking the power out of police officers' hands.
Yep. It's a double-edged sword, Most people were actually upset with me for my view on this. A lot of people were upset with me. And it's just, listen, we have fallen so much in love with political ideologies that we have completely forgotten who we are as individuals. Being a political commentator doesn't dictate who I am as a person. We can clearly see, even though you will see me wear a back the blue shirt, or I do support the thin blue line, because there are more good cops than bad. Cops are not above reproach. I'm allowed as a citizen to look at your work and go conduct conversations with other law enforcement, retired, active, and ask them questions on, does better training need to occur? It was a general consensus. I did a live with Tatum. There needs to be better training, and we can't be afraid to say that as citizens. We put so much emphasis on the fact that this is our country and they work for the people. Well, so do cops. And yes, to a certain extension, they are an authority in certain positions. But when they're not doing their job right, you need to open your mouth and say so, and don't just shut up and be like, well, comply and you won't die. Stop it, bro. Stop that. That's an old, tired, used saying that's actually callous. Because if this was one of our family members that we had to sit there and watch that get done to, I'm sure each one of us I would cuss you the fuck out if I heard you say, well, if he would have just complied, he would have been dead. Come on, man. I'm cussing y'all out.
I got to be honest, though. If that was, I would actually not feel that way. I would probably be the first one to say it about my own family. I'd have been like, what a fucking idiot. Pardon my French. Sorry, Nancy. But I'd be like, I'm actually watching a longer version of the video right now slightly longer, where they're running around the vehicle over and over. And I haven't seen this one yet, just the actual final shooting. He like tackled, he rolls over, he grabs the guy. I'm sorry. Like if it was my own family member, I'd be like, my cousin Vinny's an idiot and he asked for it. Like in all reality, I don't think I honestly, the self-responsibility on that, especially watching that full, like it didn't happen real fast. I thought it was a quick situation.
4 minutes. The whole thing was like 4 minutes.
4 minutes. If you compare both of the videos, that entire exchange took at least 10 minutes for him to get him under control.
Sorry. Then in that instance,
and I'm not saying, if you look at the other view, there's an additional 5 minutes of them going back and forth where he tackled him, and then the guy stood up and was carrying him on his back. And all I'm saying is, yes, he should have complied. That's common sense. Comply. But this officer should have had more in his arsenal to be able to conduct this stop. Period.
I don't know.
How would this officer, like, I understand what you're saying, but what do you empower the officer with to have more in his arsenal to handle this?
Like I mentioned, there needs to be some sort of grappling training for them to be able to handle these suspects when they are put in these situations. I don't agree. And I said this to Tatum, and I said this to a few other people. It shouldn't be, I'm tired. I'm tired. I've been fighting this dude. I can't get him under control. So here's one to the head. Yeah.
Well,
like we have to do more than that.
Well, and that's what I was making sure to clarify with you is arsenal to some people mean power of some other fashion, right? Like a gun or a baton or a taser or some other weapon. But I agree with you. You and I did videos about this stuff last year, and I was saying it back then. I believe every police officer should have a purple belt. They really should have a purple belt. You can control anyone. When you get to that level of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you can control any situation. You have learned composure. You have learned the ability to be able to control someone.
Right.
But we're also assuming, so what if this guy's got, I'm sorry, I disagree. What if this guy's got a purple belt, this police officer? And there's a lot of people. No, wrong. And I'm going to tell you exactly why that's wrong. Because
you don't even know what I was going to say. I stopped, so I didn't cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you that you don't know what the other person's training is either. This was a very fit young man. You don't know what other people have. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people also that go through karate classes that are also simulated. When push comes to shove, it's a very different world when it is a life or death situation. So assuming that it's 100%, just because you have the training, there is probably somebody with jiu-jitsu training that is a purple belt that in push comes to shove and in point blank, if we get into a fight, there's a chance that I can take him.
That's a straw man argument.
Why is that?
It's a weak and straw man argument because he actually proposed a solution, and you're like, no, I disagree with it because other side can be trained as well. That's a horrible argument.
But here's the thing.
And it's the solution that works is to comply.
Let me address this.
That takes away responsibility from police officers.
The officer tackled him, and the officer had control of the situation temporarily with the guy on the ground. If he actually had ground skills like a jiu-jitsu purple belt would have, that guy wouldn't have got off the ground.
Yeah.
He would have been staying on the ground.
Yeah. Okay. So I was reading.
Do you even watch MMA or mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I do. I get it. Yeah, absolutely.
There's no way he would have got off the ground. He tackled him like a linebacker tackling a running back in the football. It was crazy.
You're also wearing a lot of equipment. You're wearing 20 pounds worth of stuff. You're not wearing, the most stretched.
Why do we have to find problems in every situation? So what is your solution?
My solution is, again, this concept of not being apologetic for a police officer having to do this. Fact is, there is going to be there's 130-pound police officers. There's 250-pound police officers. And I'm sorry, I don't think, and do I think that there should be more training and give them the opportunity? Absolutely. I'm with you. Like, let me be clear. I think they should be getting more hand-to-hand combat training, but that's not going to fix this more than I don't even know what the percentage. It's an arbitrary number. The thing that's going to fix this is to stand by the fact that at 10 minutes fighting a police officer, you're asking to die.
No, Russo, I don't disagree with you about not complying. Like, he immediately jumped out of the vehicle after being pulled over. Who does that? That shows you're automatically in a situation. And to address one of the comments you pulled up real quick, is for the backup. This incident happened so quickly, the backup couldn't even be there.
Yeah,
this was just going.
But
there was no way.
To
Training.
address my comment about what he was already observing before he even approached the guy.
Yes.
I'm reading in their code of conduct here. It says use of reasonable force is allowed to conduct a law enforcement activities. Use only a reasonable amount of force to save lives, overcome resistance, maintain an advantage, and protect property. And use of deadly force is allowable to defend yourself, another officer, or another person against reasonable threat of death or serious bodily injury.
Training.
So all they need is probable cause. So this guy's probably going to get off. But I mean, it's a very sad situation all around, because this guy could have avoided all of this had he recognized the signs getting out of his car.
7 years on the job. I must admit, this is training. He should have recognized all these things and conducted himself. That doesn't take responsibility away from the suspect, but we can't keep giving cops a free pass to just fucking shoot people.
No,
I'm not going to do that.
I
this
agree
isn't
that
a free
training,
pass.
There's no way this is a free
When
pass.
When you just completely, this is in defense of your solution. Okay, yes, cops do need to have more training in these areas.
But
well, no, that would never work. People just need to comply.
You said this was
it's
justified,
multifaceted,
right?
Within the law, it's justified.
Okay, so that's where we cannot say it's a free pass. If it's
I'm not just
justified.
using this situation. I'm using several situations where training is
that's
poor.
That's fine.
Rashard Brooks, training is poor. Were they within the law to shoot? Yes, but why did it have to get to that level?
No, I agree with you.
Multifaceted.
But we're talking about this one incident, right? And when you said free pass, that's what I was trying to clarify to understand what you're saying, because we can't say free pass in this situation. We all agreed, other than Russo, we all put our hand up and said this was justified.
I agreed.
And you do agree? Cool. That's
yeah.
But we all agreed it's justified, so we can't say it's a free pass. But training is needed, 100%. Sunni, you are 100% accurate.
So why does this have to be why can't it be a multifaceted response? Again, this lack of understanding that compliance is key. Because again, I don't care how much training somebody has. There is an element where drunk people are ridiculously strong sometimes. There are also people that are going to be bigger. There's going to be people that are stronger, or you're going to be are we going to make our police force like the Army, which we've talked about in the past? And I'm not opposed to having ex-military as police officers. I think that's a whole different discussion for a different day. But no matter what, if you've got a bunch of people that want to serve the public that are 140 pounds, or a female, or whoever it might be, and they're the ones that they're coming to this situation. And we've already seen females that are in great shape. Female police officers can't necessarily do the job to break up a high school fight, let alone a this kind of situation. There has to be some ownership in the fact, and you guys are giving it, but it has to be a real gung-ho philosophy on compliance. And then yes, give training to give another alternative. But I'm going to tell you, when push comes to shove, I think you think that we're training by having an immense amount of training. We're creating superheroes. These are still peace officers. These are individuals like you and me, Casey, that would be doing a job that sometimes you're going against somebody that is a criminal, that is strong, and you don't know what you're getting into. This guy was in fantastic shape, and he wore him out, that he lost the fight.
Cop, do you hold a cop to the same standard that you hold a civilian?
Yes.
No.
And I think that's horrible. You're a cop.
They should be at a higher standard.
Exactly. You are charged with the authority over me to some extent. You better be fucking trained top tier. My husband does not get no type of progression until you show that you are proficient in this area. Yes. You cannot go fix a jet knowing a pilot is going to get into it and not have training.
I agree. That's where I agree with added training, but I don't think that fully fixes the problem.
No,
I
it
agree. I
doesn't
think
fix
it's
the problem.
We're not
multifaceted.
saying it's going to fully fix it. Comply, don't die is obvious. How many
I
times
thought you
are we
just
going
said not
to
to
say that?
say it anymore.
Because it's obvious. Comply and don't die.
I don't think it's
What?
as obvious. It's obvious because we have common sense. We're smart
No,
people.
it's
There's a
obvious because we understand you need to abide by the law, but there would be no need for police if we all complied. That's why they're here, because
So-
there are people who aren't going to comply.
We all agree that there needs to be multiple solutions to this, and it needs to be multiple pronged. And there's not a single solution to fix this
No,
all,
there's
right?
not.
And
Agreed.
that is where we're coming in, and we can actually say they need more training, whatever that training is. We all have our own opinions. I honestly really believe if anybody goes through jujitsu training, it would help them immensely in these situations. But then I also do believe that they also need to ensure that they do not have PTSD and stuff like that as an officer, because that also
Agreed.
does cause some trigger happiness.
itchy trigger finger.
But the biggest problem that we battle with all officers is no one wants to become an officer right now. That is our biggest problem, because no one wants to back them anymore. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but there's a large group of people that are attacking them and going after them. That is the biggest problem we have with officers, is we have to take what we can get to put on the streets.
I don't know what the first
This is
part
what I
meant, but
mean by people like that's a straw man argument.
No, it's not. That's real life.
No, it's not. I'm using an analogy to say that you have to be proficient in this. There are certain requirements. That's the bottom line. That's a straw man argument.
I
That's
agree.
taking my analogy and taking it to the extreme.
She's
Come
not
on, bro.
saying that you don't have to have more training. We're just saying that training isn't going to fix everything. So that's why there has to be a push for compliance, like always, and compliance can't be deemed a racist term. And then at the same time, yes, police need more funding. They need more training, period. And I'm not saying you're saying it's a racist term. I'm saying people do. This is what the left will say, like, oh, comply or die. That's terrible. That's a terrible term. You don't understand what it's like. No, I do. It's called don't fight a police officer. But at the same time, police need more training to control a situation. Can we agree on that? Can we agree there?
Sure.
All right. Ready to talk about Elon and then cannabis and get out of here?
We're talking about
All right.
cannabis?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Casey's going to close with, since it's 4:20, we might as well talk about it. 4:19. So Elon, to give everybody a kind of recap, new movie clip. Stacy, we're all good. We're fine. We're having a fun argument, discussion, debate. And actually, the thing is, we were like a shred of difference apart on that one in terms of our opinions.
Well, and we've had much more heated conversations than that one.
Yeah, that was nothing. Eric, what's up, brother? I appreciate that. Media will never mention how compliance would that, and that's my point. Is media would it'd be important for them to just simply point that out, so that normal common can you imagine if Don Lemon actually just said, like, police officers need more training and we need to be better at compliance? Literally, the world would come to an end if Don Lemon ever actually said that.
God.
For real. All right. So Elon, the poison pill, all these different things. He's trying to buy out the company. We've talked about this. I think last week this all started. $43 billion, which is 40% over the actual market price. Not necessarily anymore after he started investing in it. It was deemed a hostile takeover. He then has what the board is trying to do, which I find it very fascinating. Jack Dorsey, the former CEO, still on the board, has talked about the incompetence of the board of directors on the Twitter board. He's like saying this is nothing new. He also recently has Jack Dorsey has talked about Brian Stelter being false information, which is crazy. Him going against, actually not Brian Stelter, arguing about Stelter and CNN providing false information. So I don't know what's going on with Jack Dorsey, if he's got a flu or a fever, or maybe he is starting to jump into the Elon Musk camp, but he is a pro Elon Musker in terms of this buyout. Ultimately, yes, one person buying a company and making it private might not necessarily be the best thing in the world. Elon also has been pro-China in the past. I've read all the things that he said. But fact is, when it comes to free speech, he is a free speech advocate. We don't have to agree on everything of what he has to say, but this is very, very important. Why do we care so much about this? it's free speech. And fact is the level of suppression has been huge. And I will end it with this, so you guys understand what poison pill means and what the board of directors is doing, because they leave that out. They just talk about poison pill. Poison pill means the board of directors have, and I had, again, exactly what it's called. If they would file a certain way to add more shares, by adding more shares, they're diluting the major shareholders, allowing themselves to buy back. So it would cost them more money. It affects all shareholders across the board, whether you own $1,000 worth of shares or whether you own $10 million worth of shares. So your shares are diluted, but they're using the board of directors to buy back more shares to make Elon Musk own less of the company. So essentially, they're devaluing the company for everybody that owns shares, which actually they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, and this hurts them in the short and long term. There's nothing good for it. So technically, they're facing legal liability by doing this as well. That shows you how much they are trying to suppress Elon Musk from buying Twitter. That's kind of giving you the recap.
But in a way, isn't Elon kind of winning no matter what happens? You know what I mean?
Why do you say that? You said that last night. Why do you say that?
Well, because, okay, so let's just say he buys the shares and he owns the company, and, you know, he does what he wants to do with it, right? Well, now they're freaking out. They're trying to like do all this stuff with the shares that you were just talking about, and they're devaluing the shares, making their shareholders angry. That doesn't sound like a good plan to me. Like, I kind of feel like either way he's putting them in a corner. I don't know, like, something just tells me that he's got a bigger plan there. I don't know I don't know what to think about this.
He may have a bigger plan, and I think that there is a positive either way. He may not end up with the company. He may sink the company. Either way, I mean, the ultimate reason why he's trying to buy Twitter, people are like, why doesn't he start his own? If there was another fucking social media out there that nobody would be able to use. The fact is, he's trying to buy one of the pillars and improve it. He even talked about it's not for money. He really just goes, I've got enough money to say, fuck it, I want free speech. And I think that that's important. I want to address one comment real quick and then let Casey talk. I'm going to respectfully disagree. I think that Suni does like to argue, to be argumentative, but everything that she has said had a backing and why she believed in that way. And although we disagree, I think there was times that Suni and I have gotten into arguments in the past where she might have just been argumentative for the sake of it. But I think we just had a fundamental difference in opinion on that one. And I respectfully disagree with this statement. But I do agree with this statement. Moving on. All right, go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, it's not like Suni doesn't bring facts to conversations, right? Like,
yeah.
But overall, my thing is I'm with you, Mo. I think Elon wins regardless. If Twitter tanks, Twitter tanks. But I think Elon is looking at this as I'm going to prove to people how vulnerable these markets are, because he did this with cryptocurrency just 6 months ago. He just makes a tweet about one cryptocurrency and it goes through the roof in value. And so now he gets to the high value of owning of shares of an organization, a major organization like Twitter. And then he starts this chaos. And yeah, there is part like Jenny mentioned about he is working supposedly with Morgan Stanley, which is a big owner of Twitter. But overall, with this whole thing, I think Elon wins regardless, because he's going to make his point, and he is proving from every little thing that is all these variable markets, so stocks and cryptocurrency, he is proving how volatile it is and how it can just drop like no other. And that's what we're seeing. I think that's where there's also risk with what happened with Netflix today. At the same time, I think people are getting nervous with tech stuff at the moment because it can just fall off a cliff. But we'll find out.
Can I really quick put in perspective how much money Elon Musk has?
Oh,
so if you were to make $100 million per day, you would not be worth the same as Elon Musk for 8 years.
Yeah.
If you were to make $100 million, do the math. I just did it, but I mean,
$100 million. That's 365 by 100 million. So what is that? 3.65 billion.
Yep.
No, I actually read, and I may have these figures wrong, that he could buy Twitter plus have enough money left over to give everybody in the United States $1 million?
Yes, he can.
That's crazy.
Yes, he can. Yes,
36.5.
Is it 36.5 billion?
36.5 billion per year, which means it would take almost 10 years to reach that. So about eight or nine. $100 million a day. Anyways, I just had to. I didn't realize, because we were talking about funding. One of our guy, Adam Kennedy, and I were talking, and we were talking about how much money we give to Afghanistan and Ukraine. And then I did the math, and I was like, I was doing it based on that, and I was like, this is still less than. Okay, this is weird. That's ridiculous. Anyways, so with him being worth that money and with him doing that, the one thing that you brought up, Casey, is the fact that we're not looking at what BlackRock and Bill Gates is doing at the same time, but we're worried about a free speech platform that's supposed to be about speech. True. And we're completely ignoring BlackRock and Bill Gates. Go ahead.
Yeah, when it comes to those like I shouldn't say companies, because we're also referring to a person, but between Bill Gates and what BlackRock is doing, they're just consuming the world also. Elon Musk is slowly doing it in industries that he wants to be in. And because he actually even bought one of the biggest, I don't know if you guys might not know, is a capacitor company, Maxwell. He bought them to be able to integrate that and use that technology inside the vehicles, which is a huge purchase and change in technology for what they currently do. What you have Gates doing, buying up random land throughout the country. It's still a small portion of what's available and what's the farmland. Like, people are freaking out thinking, oh, he's buying up all the farmland. No, he's still only owns a small portion. It's not a huge percentage, but he owns it and he's consuming it. And then you have BlackRock consuming a whole bunch of real estate just for commercial and residential use. BlackRock is just consuming it all and just driving up prices.
And apparently using Chase to do it as well. So I had heard this from not just my banker, but also somebody that watches this show. Him and I were talking, and he sells neighborhoods. He does the new builds, and never before has banks. And it sounds like Casey found, and there's people that have talked about a link between Chase and BlackRock. BlackRock's, I think, investment firm is $9 trillion, which, again, if you want to talk about 100 million per day, we're talking 50 years. Talking about you could do a billion per day. But regardless, so he was set to sell the neighborhood. That's how it worked in these new builds. And Chase came in and bought all of them, all 50 houses or 25 or 100 houses, whatever it was. This has never been done by banks before. So then the question, and Kelly and I had this conversation of why would a bank do that? Why is that beneficial? Well, it's not like they're also paying above market value. So there's nothing good there. So it's not like they're making money off the top. They're controlling the market. They'll control the rental market. And if and when a crash happens, they will have control of full neighborhoods. They will have control of their losses. By the way, let's also not forget that banks are too big to fail, because they have the government backing. So no matter what they do, they can take out these loans or buy these homes and not have enough cash to cover it. And in the end, they're going to get bailed out. This is so dangerous. And people don't understand what it means to have JP Morgan Chase, whom I bank with, might I add, owning property and also being under the umbrella and guise of BlackRock. BlackRock also, as we know, owns a large portion of Twitter, and they own a large portion of Reuters as well. So they're controlling information and potentially controlling housing. This goes across the board of
Crazy.
How can you believe in a one world government? How could you believe in the elites? Look at it right here. That's why it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
That's
all I have
crazy.
to say.
Suni's really quiet. Suni's contemplating the world.
She didn't want to talk about. She didn't want to talk about.
I don't like Elon Musk. Look, Rocket Man wants to put a chip in our brain, so I don't fuck with Elon Musk, bro. I don't care what the hell he's buying. He ain't gonna
He's
change
such a
shit.
mystery. He's such a mystery to me. I think he's an alien.
He's a weird dude, no doubt, and that's my point. Like, there's a lot of things. Like, I'm a Tesla fan. I think a lot of the stuff that he does is very, very cool. I think he's too smart for his own good, but I mean, that's what got him here. But there's a lot of, he just believes in automation at a level that I don't like or agree with. He does have pro-China feelings, because he also, is he pro-China, or is he observing what they're doing and saying it's going to work? He goes, what they're doing is winning. And maybe that's just an observation of being accurate. And I don't agree with microchips in any way, shape, or form. But for this argument, for the sake of free speech, which I think is incredibly important in this world right now, I think he is the right man for the job to take this helm. I don't love him for every aspect of him. I love his ingenuity. I'm scared of his ingenuity. At the same time, his free speech opinion is something I can get behind.
I think he's smarter than Trump.
I think this could be dangerous,
No shit.
right? Because I think we're getting so like kind of blinded by the fact like we just want to win one, guys. Like let's let him buy Twitter so we can come out on top and have free speech. But I really don't think like, you know, this is the thing when people start talking about free speech is I really want to make sure it's free. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to go to a world where it's all like Truth Social or whatever Trump's, you know, platform is. You know what I mean? Like that's my worry is like I want to maintain, you know, the discourse and the different opinions that we have online and be able to have that and turn it off if we want to turn it off. But it's a dangerous line that when you have people start talking about free speech so much and I start to wonder, well, what is their definition of free speech?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree with you, but the thing is Twitter's definition of free speech is horrible. You can search all kinds of stuff on there. There is a lot of stuff that shouldn't be on the internet, and it is still allowed on Twitter, but Donald Trump can't be there. Like, what in the world is wrong with that platform? But this comment is true, even though the spelling is very wrong. But yes, it is. He does have a form of Asperger's.
Asperger's, Jesus.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And he admits it. He's talked about it. He's socially awkward. I mean, we all have our opinions on Elon. The Jack Dorsey stuff is actually very interesting to me.
What do you mean by Jack Dorsey stuff?
Jack Dorsey is all of a sudden he's talking poorly about. He's essentially being kind of pro free speech, pro Elon Musk. He's off the board next month. He's talked about how bad the board is. He said a good board does not necessarily make a good company, but a bad board would destroys a company. A bad board will kill a company every time. He's talking about the fact that he talked about a comment made about CNN in 2016 or 2014 during the Ferguson riots. He just brought it up recently. Talking about how CNN is a purveyor of fake news. And he goes, I was there and they were trying to create news and create violence in order to shoot it. And there was people that they would never covered chanting FCNN, FCNN. This is coming from Jack Dorsey, who always to me seemed a little different.
I am more skeptical about him than some politicians.
How much you want to bet he like dies in a freak accident?
Yeah, Breitbart it or something. Yes,
right.
That's Jack Dorsey is not.
That's weird.
The
thing about Jack has always showed up to the government meetings. Jack has always been there. I've always found him to be an enigma. I don't put him with Zuckerberg, even though they always group him together. I've always been like, this is a dude wearing a tie-dye shirt with a long beard that he puts on a suit once every 10 months to be at these meetings. He's a different kind of guy. Yeah. He's more Elon Musk than Zuckerberg. And I'm curious what his play is on this one. And I'm curious to see. We talked about this last night. I've been calling everything with this Elon Musk thing from day one. I've predicted the correct way. And I'm wondering what Jack Dorsey's play is in this. Will he, because he no longer is obviously not the primary stakeholder. He's definitely not the CEO. He stepped down from that. Does he have and the person that got put in his position is a shithead, even worse than Jack Dorsey. I'm curious what his play is with Elon Musk, if there is a play. I guess we'll see.
Dorsey is controlled opposition.
Maybe. I've got to go quickly start my IG after this, but here's Elon Musk is too close to the Green New Deal for me. We often complain about how government is going to take control and implement kill switches in our vehicles, and this guy's pumping out electrical cars. So in my view and my honest opinion, he's a part of the plan and he plays both sides. I do not fuck with Elon Musk, bro. The stuff he does, is extremely arrogant. I don't like overly ambitious people, and I never have. The fact that you want to put chips in people's brains and move civilization to another damn planet, you could do it, but you're also going to get criticism from folks like me that are going to point out that you are way too close for comfort to the establishment and their plan. Go buy your Teslas all you want. I'm going to stick with gas vehicles.
No, you're not.
Word.
Nope. you won't, especially staying in Japan. You're not going to stick with gas vehicles.
There is no gas vehicles outnumber electrical vehicles here.
Well, they do in the U.S. too.
Yeah, it's like 90%, 95%.
But
still.
it just slowly takes over. It slowly takes over. But I get what you're saying, Suni. But on your way out, just a thing to point out to you, because I know you hate space travel. We did find another planet Earth in another solar system.
Who is we? NASA?
Some random. I read an article the other day that they said that, and I was like, I got to bring that up to Suni.
Are you telling me we got another Earth? Yes, NASA. Yes, NASA. Okay, no, not the same way. Not the same way.
No.
You're not gonna stick around for the weed combo? Come on.
Look,
we're
it's
doing 3 minutes
420
a week.
here. I've been getting high since I woke up. So
Here, Suni, give us 3 more minutes. Casey, talk about weed,
Sure.
and then we're gonna get out of here. Suni, give us or Casey, give us the rundown, and then we're done.
Yeah, it's really not about weed. It's about how corrupt our government is and how awful they are. So, the House passed a bill for decriminalizing marijuana, or cannabis is the technical name for it. But shut your face. When it comes to the Senate now, you have the Republicans. Since the House passed it, you have the Senate Republicans going in and tearing this whole thing apart and saying, why is this a priority? Why is this a thing? And if we know anything about Republicans, they're all about big business, and they want to be involved in the businesses, and they want to be able to promote that. And right now, they're not ahead of the game because they didn't expect this bill to come up and actually get passed. And now it's looking like in the Senate, they might get it passed again, which means we're going to decriminalize it, which is a good thing. We're going to go back so many years and decriminalize some people's records for what is it? What is the term?
What?
Non-criminal.
No, just an offense for possessing marijuana, a small amount.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a term for it, another term. But anyways, so they're going to remove all of that, expunge those records, which would be a great thing. And then also remove it from the Schedule 1 drug list, which would be fantastic. So we can actually investigate it and truly determine, is this something we need to be doing for medical reasons, which I honestly do believe we should, but and other reasons. But overall, this is exposing the right is so bad at trying to compromise, and they're just trying to point fingers at the left and saying the left is the problem. No, you are equally the problem. Like Jim Jordan, everybody was on Jim Jordan's bandwagon a year ago, right? But now he is the biggest opponent against this bill.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I don't smoke weed, so I don't know about this. But why? What is the significance of 420? Like, why? What is 420? I don't get it.
I used to know the story on how that came about.
Suni, do you know?
What? National Weed Day?
Yeah. Why 420?
And is it?
You're too high.
She's too high to remember.
Listen, I'm a functioning pot smoker. Okay.
Oh, it's a spiritual meaning.
But it also has a couple celebrities that have birthdays on 420 too. Also another.
Reddit is out of control.
I also believe, I think it is it Hitler's birthday too? Which is also weird in this whole thing.
What?
No.
I think it is. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
All kinds of crazy stuff.
It's the most anti-Semitic story. And no, it's a really anti-Semitic story.
This is some stoner shit. It says right here, if you take the Bob Dylan song "Rainy Day Woman" number 12 and 35 and multiply the numbers, you get 420.
Jesus. And yes, 100% is confirmed. It is Hitler's birthday also.
Yeah, it's also
Oh,
420. It is. I'm
That's
reading
some
this in Time
stupidity.
magazine. It's also 420 in some places. Code among police officers for marijuana smoking progress.
People are
Just
so
saying.
dumb. I'm sorry. Why can't you just say? Okay, so this guy, listen, this guy is tomorrow a legal day to smoke weed? Is it legal tomorrow?
No.
For
No,
everybody?
it's just a day where
Only-
people come together in
It's-
solidarity to say why weed is good, and also people use it as an excuse to get like astronomically
like
high.
weed smokers,
I
like weed smokers wait all year for 420.
yes.
Yeah, yo, you make. I'm telling you, it's an
Yes.
event.
I will encourage you, if you have not seen it, go watch Half Baked tomorrow.
Fake.
That was the first
Pineapple
movie
Express, go watch it.
first movie I ever
Wow.
got high to was Half Baked. And then because I do last thing, and then I'm done. God, I gotta find this. I was talking to somebody that. Hold on.
And
There
let's
is a
just hope my
school
new
that-
employer doesn't find this video.
Right, there's a school district. Okay, let me find this comment real fast. Of course, it's gonna take a second. Give me a split second. Where was it? So there's a school district, I believe, in Texas. Of course, it's gonna take forever on my Facebook. So let me look at my phone. It's a school district in Texas. Essentially, allow a school district somewhere. I think it is Texas, allowing Narcan to be given to students. Let me read this. Unreal.
Narcan.
Okay.
That's
Weed,
like
bro?
that's like if you're like overdose.
Yeah,
That's
that's like a
great, yeah.
pill issue.
Okay, so it's the University of North Texas, not a high school. It's handing out Narcan to students. Essentially, they're calling it a safe tea party on Tuesday, April 19th. Actually, it was supposed to happen today. Safety supplies. Come build your own safety keychains with us. April from 1 to 3. Take home goodie bags full of safety resources, including Narcan and a map of safety spots on campus.
Do they
Free
got-
tea
This
and
is
hors
no
d'oeuvres.
different than the crack
You
pipes.
I was just gonna say that.
do they have
plan.
a Joe Biden crack pipe in that goodie bag? Or what?
Hey, look, kids, go ahead and do fentanyl, do heroin, probably sneak
my
in some
God.
meth in there. Go ahead and suck some gas out of a bag, and we have this safety bag for you just in case.
Hey, you forgot you forgot huffing the duster stuff. You forgot that, bro. What is wrong with you?
Blue check mark, by the way. This is the university.
Can you
UNC.
share?
Kelly,
Can you
stop
send that to
texting
me? Send that
Yeah,
to me.
it's an
please,
actual
Russo.
tweet. Can you see that? It's hard to see.
No,
It's
your
dark. Yeah.
camera's way out of focus.
Put your hand behind it.
That's so ridiculous.
Yo, I can't
So
wait to
ridiculous.
post
Put your
this
hand-
because
put your
I'm gonna
hand
say,
up.
hey,
Put your hand up.
I'm gonna mess with what's his name, Mitch.
Oh, jeez.
This is what happens when you send your kid to go to these indoctrination camps, these institutions. They get handed out goodie bags to encourage them doing all sorts of
With
nasty
Narcan,
drugs.
I don't even understand. That's a serious thing to just be handing
Some
out.
serious shit.
Narcan. I'm sorry, you can't overdose on weed.
Exactly.
But I mean, like, Narcan is to bring you out of an overdose. What the hell?
The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to be happy, sleepy, and hungry. That's the only
That's
thing that's going
it.
to happen.
I
It
got
doesn't
an
make you wanna go
emergency
commit
call.
crimes.
Suni,
Okay.
I know you're done, so you're gonna head out. Casey, Mo, you guys wrap up. I got an
We'll wrap
emergency call. Again,
Go ahead,
guys,
bud.
wakenotwokestore.com. You do your thing. Take it easy, guys. Suni, I'll see you on Instagram. Boom.
Okay.
See you, bud.
Russo's in trouble.
Right? What was the emergency?
Go
I
ahead.
wanna
Sid.
know.
Let's close it out.
Hey,
It was
if you guys want to watch the after
party.
party, come on over to my IG. I always host about an hour live. Dang. Sorry, that was a hell of a pool. And it just made me cough really hard. Come over to Instagram and hear different perspectives. It's actually really funny. The conversations we get into after this is hilarious. And hopefully, I won't be bringing Mitch on, but I hope he's in the comments section because I'm going to issue another PSA about these harm reduction programs that they're now sending to children in college. It's so crazy.
I just don't understand.
Message me if he comes on. I want to be there.
Where is this school at? Because he's going to be like, it's a Republican ran. Where's this school at? Is it in Texas?
We'll get it from him.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what school. He mentioned it. I didn't take note.
Wait,
Oh, this is a valid
can
point
I-
too.
Can I tell a funny story really quick? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of like 420 related. So my husband had a weed brownie in the refrigerator for the longest time, like a little piece, right? Like that a friend of his made, and it had super strong weed in it. Well, like we were gone or something like that, and my son was like rummaging through the refrigerator, and he found this baggie. Like, why you would eat a random piece of a brownie in a baggie is beyond me. But you know, teenage boys, okay, we don't question what they do. So he eats the entire brownie, and then he realized he pops it in his mouth. I found this out just the other day, you guys. They hid this from me because he knew I was gonna lose my shit. So he eats the brownie, and like we call him and we're like, hey, make sure you walk the dogs before you go to bed, because like sometimes he'll fall asleep and not walk the dogs. So this is like an hour into him eating it, and he's like, oh shit, I gotta go walk the dogs, because he's like gone. Okay, he said he opened up the door and he's like, he said it looked like just blackness, like forever. He was like, I couldn't see. And I said, how far did you walk the dogs? He's like, I walked the dogs all the way up the street and back. He's like, and then I came downstairs and made some bomb ramen.
Yo, that's how it is, man. You get super happy. Look,
I was like,
you know I'm
my
high if I
God.
get a smile on my face. It's just I don't know, man.
No.
People try to demonize this. I don't even think of it as a drug. This plant so much, man, but it actually gives relief to people. And I'm a really big proponent of helping the veterans, PTSD and all that stuff, man. Y'all need to federalize, or I mean legalize weed, bro. Seriously, don't federalize it, but legalize it.
Yeah.
Thank God my son is a bigger kid and he could handle it. Because my God, can you imagine?
I was expecting you to be like, yeah, he walked for like 3 miles and was just walking around. Some of my friends have done that. They just disappeared for a while.
He said he was telling himself, all right, I can do this. I can do this. But he's like, all I could see was blackness. He's like, I couldn't see anything.
God.
Oh, jeez.
University of North Texas. Oh, gosh. I'm going to find what city that's in. Anyways, I'm out of here, guys. Catch up with you.
Bye, Susu.
No, wrap your stuff up.
Wrap my stuff up. You guys follow me on YouTube. Let's Talk Darling. That's my website as well. letstalkdarling.com. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also going to go over to SUNY's live to see what type of debauchery is going on over there. Before I go to bed, I need to eat some dinner and then I need to go to bed. So yeah, join us over there. Are you going over there, Casey?
I probably will chime in here and there, but I won't be over there a whole lot. I got to put the boys to bed here in just a minute.
Yeah, I agree. I have to get myself to bed soon, but I always pop in just to see what SUNY's doing over there.
Well, yeah, and if she's gonna pick some fun with Mitch, yeah, I want to see.
I'm sure.
He is a fun individual. But yeah, guys, as always, check us out. You got the Great American Syndicate link and down below, and then always awakenotwokestore.com. You can use Awake for 15% off, and you also got SUNY's shirt up there that is selling out like no other. So feel free to use that with MATA as the promo code to be able to get 20% off. But have a good night, guys.
All right, bye.